Do you have a consumer-related issue? Want to learn more about matters concerning you as a consumer? Well, keep it locked to Nationwide 90 FM for the Consumer Hour with me, Nora Gay Banton. Weekdays from 9 to 10 a.m. For all your consumer-centric matters, stay tuned to the Consumer Hour on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Ready to tackle that building project? Start right. Start here at H&L Rapid True Value for building supplies. The time by H&L Rapid True Value is
Nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
In Nationwide News at this hour, the police chief is expressing confidence the country will record fewer than 1,000 murders this year.
We indicated from the beginning what the objectives are. We were the one who publicly announced a sub 1,000 and we aim towards a sub 1,000.
Homicides are down 40% so far this year.
Jamaicans for Justice wants update on permanent appointments for DPP and at the Integrity Commission.
PNP names all its MPs and senators to slate of shadow spokespersons.
More than 50 roads completed under Spark. Another 100 are nearing completion.
In news from the rest of the world, schools closed in Bahamas as Tropical Storm Imelda nears islands.
Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu say they've agreed to a plan to end the war in Gaza.
In headline sports, West Indies rocked by another major fast bowling injury. Worry ahead of Test series against India.
And later in our broadcast, in the cover story at 5:35, should the rule barring civil servants from engaging in partisan political activity be changed? The MP for North Central Clarendon, Robert Morgan, and former president of the Jamaica Civil Service Association, O'Neill Grant, will join us.
In public opinion at 6:26, we ask, what's your reaction to Jamaica's decision not to walk out during the Israeli Prime Minister's address at the UN? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio, and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90 FM.
All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile, Nationwide 90 FM, RevaNews.ai, and on the Reva News app. It's available on the Google Play and the App Store. This Monday afternoon, it's Monday, September 29, 2025.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
And now to the details. Police Commissioner Dr. Kevin Blake is expressing confidence the force will be able to sustain the current homicide trends, which would see the country recording its lowest annual murder tally in decades. Shalois Michael reports.
The nation's top cop says the force has not built the current murder reduction strategy purely on hope. He says he expects the strategic moves made so far this year to continue to offer positive results.
Are you and the High Command and the team approaching this last quarter nervous that the numbers will hold? Or are you confident in what you're doing?
I'm very confident. Listen, if this were walk-up, George, for want of a better term, if we were pursuing a strategy of hope, this would have been derailed long ago. We indicated from the beginning what the objectives are. We were the one who publicly announced a sub 1,000 and we aim towards a sub 1,000. These are deliberate. They are deliberate and we are able to achieve it because the investment in us, not just monetary investment, but goodwill and support from our stakeholders and the government. The investment and us understanding how to produce return on that investment.
Dr. Blake was speaking on Nationwide this morning on Monday. Between January 1 and August 31 this year, Jamaica recorded its lowest level of murders in 23 years. 459 homicides have been recorded over the period. The country's deadliest year on record came in 2009, when 1,683 murders were recorded. By contrast, the lowest annual total was in 2003, with 976 murders. Based on the current pace, the projected murder tally for the final 4 months of 2025 is 229. This brings the likely year-end total to 688 murders. So far this year, no single month has surpassed 74 murders, a figure recorded in January. February saw 49 homicides. In March, the figure rose to 66, then dipped to 46 in April. May recorded 53 homicides, June 56, July 62, and in August, 53 Jamaicans were murdered. Dr. Blake says the norm of having more than 30 murders per week is changing.
Maybe 2 years ago or so, we were aiming at a sub-30 murder per any week. I see an article in a newspaper with alarm that we have double-digit murder when we had 10 murders 1 week. Alarm that we had double-digit. And it is, in a sense, a good thing.
Yes.
That the norm has changed, where we no longer tolerate 30s and 40s in any week.
Yes.
And where we're intolerant of any double-digit number. But that's where we brought the norm to. And we can sustain it. And that's why we are so forceful on this. That's why we push press release. That's why we try to educate our public.
Shaloy Smichael for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, up to September 27, Jamaica recorded a 40% decline in homicides. According to the latest data from the Jamaica Constabulary Force, 511 murders had been committed. That's 351 fewer than the 862 murders recorded in the corresponding period last year. The St. Andrew South Police Division leads the country's murder tally with 60. St. James has recorded the steepest decline in homicides this year. The division has recorded 59 fewer murders than the 102 committed over the corresponding period last year. Shootings also saw a major decline, registering 524 incidents. It's a 33% drop compared to the over 780 recorded up to September 27 last year. Rapes are down by 21%. But the JCF says break-ins and robberies have continued to increase. Both major crimes rose by 23% and 12%, respectively.
The Executive Director of Jamaicans for Justice, JFJ, Michael Jackson, has raised concerns that 3 important state offices continue to operate without permanent leadership. The offices are the Director of Public Prosecutions, the Executive Director, and Director of Corruption Prosecution at the Integrity Commission.
I think it is concerning that we now have an acting DPP, though qualified, because we all knew that September 19 was coming. And I think it's important for us to get an update as to where we are with appointing the new DPP in a permanent manner. I also share a concern with the fact that we still do not have an executive director over by the Integrity Commission and that the Director of Corruption Prosecution is acting.
Paula Llewellyn resigned as DPP on September 19 after 17 years in office. Within the Integrity Commission, Greg Christie's tenure as Executive Director ended in May. This followed the departure of Keisha Prince Kamika as Director of Corruption Prosecution a month earlier. Both positions within the anti-corruption body were subsequently advertised. Ms. Jackson is calling for an update on the vacancies.
I was advised that the terms of reference that advertised the 2 positions, Executive Director and Director of Corruption Prosecution, it closed for the Executive Director on May 9. That's 4.5 months ago. And for the Director of Corruption Prosecution, that closed March 28. Today is now September 29. I think the country needs answers because we cannot have these critical offices overseeing critical matters and we do not have permanent appointments. I think that is untenable and I think the responsible agencies owe the country an update.
Michael Jackson, the Executive Director of Jamaicans for Justice. She was speaking on the JFJ produced show Let's Talk Justice, aired on Nationwide 90 FM on Mondays. The opposition People's National Party, the PNP, has named all its 28 members of parliament and 8 senators as part of its new shadow cabinet. The party unveiled its team of spokespersons and deputies today. Robin Williams has the details.
According to the PNP, its shadow cabinet has been organized around 4 key pillars of national life: economic development, human development, physical development, and governance. Party leader Mark Golding has the portfolio of defense and constitutional affairs. Golding says the slate of spokespersons and deputies will provide oversight, hold the government accountable, and present alternative policies that reflect its vision for a just, inclusive, and progressive Jamaica.
In announcing this shadow cabinet, we present a team of bright minds, some experienced leaders, and energetic new voices who are ready to serve the people of Jamaica. Together, they bring the creativity and determination required to chart a better course for our country. The shadow cabinet has been organized around 4 key pillars of national life: economic development, human development, physical development, and governance, ensuring a structured approach to addressing Jamaica's most pressing challenges.
Julian Robinson remains the opposition spokesperson on finance and the public service. Deputizing for Robinson are Senator Ramon Ferguson on finance and Senator Lambert Brown on the public service. Peter Bunting, who was the spokesperson on national security last term, now has the portfolio of productivity, efficiency, and competitiveness. He's joined by Senator Cleveland Tomlinson as deputy spokesperson. Fitz Jackson has been assigned the PNP's new point man on national security. Newcomer Andrea Perkis will speak on tourism and linkages, while Nikisha Burchell has responsibility for creative industries, culture, and information. Zulika Jess, who is an attorney by profession, has been appointed spokesperson on justice. She takes over from Donna Scott Motley, who will now speak on foreign affairs. Isat Buchanan will shadow youth and human rights. Dr. Alfred Dawes will shadow health. For road and works, Richard Azan has been assigned spokesman, with Dwayne Vaz being his deputy. The portfolio of gender, the elderly, and persons with disabilities will see Denise Daly as spokesperson and Heather Miller Bennett as her deputy. Golding says the shadow cabinet will be value for money.
I also wish to emphasize that the shadow cabinet comes at no additional cost to taxpayers. This is not about salaries or perks. Our spokespersons serve without pay in these shadow cabinet roles. At the same time, the shadow cabinet provides an important platform for our MPs to engage meaningfully on national issues and to demonstrate their potential and readiness to assume portfolio responsibilities in a future government.
Robeanne Williams for Nationwide News.
Nearly 50 roads have already been completed and an additional 100 in advanced stages under the Spark program. That's according to Works Minister Robert Morgan.
The contractor has been doing the repairs. Persons may realize that many roads across Kingston and St. Andrew and many other parishes across the island in each constituency are being repaired. One of the areas of concern is Ligoni Avenue, where persons have been complaining. We just want persons to understand that in some cases development can be challenging at times. We're asking for their patience. We've started over 100 and about 50 roads. 100 of them are at advanced stage of completion. About 46 of them are complete.
The Spark program began in December 2024. It includes the rehabilitation of main, local, and community roads over a 2-year period. The $45 billion road project also repairs pavements, selected intersections, sidewalks, drainage, and retaining walls. In addition to Spark, other roadworks, such as REACH, are ongoing. REACH is nearing its completion. Minister Morgan says recent heavy rains have not had a major impact on the road projects.
We haven't had a lot of issues in Kingston and St. Andrew. We have had issues in the rural areas, especially rural and west rural, and we've had issues in the western side of the island. But there are still many roads that are in a challenging state that we haven't reached yet. So we spent a record amount of resources over the last 2 years to upgrade our road infrastructure. We still have a lot of drains, gullies that we're planning to repair over the next 12 months. So we're just asking for the patience of citizens as we will be getting to these critical areas very shortly.
Robert Morgan, Minister with responsibility for works. You're listening to the news on Nationwide at 5. We'll have more after these.
Annual eye examinations not only assess your vision, but may be life-saving. Eye tests may detect serious health issues that go beyond your vision. Call IQ Optical to schedule your comprehensive eye test today.
The time by IQ Optical is...
It's 14 minutes after 5.
Rentokil Initial offers air purification solutions with triple filtration and unique auto-sensing capabilities that neutralizes malodor and replaces it with clean air. Call Rentokil Initial at 926-4236 for more details.
The temperature by Rentokil is
30 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 29 out west in Montego Bay.
Quiet on the set. Want you to read the teleprompter. All right?
Yes.
Okay. 4, 3, 2.
Welcome to Deposit Insurance in a Minute. Deposit Insurance is a system designed to protect depositors in the event that a bank or other deposit-taking institution fails.
It is a key part of a country's financial safety net, ensuring that if something goes wrong, depositors don't lose all their hard-earned money.
Big man thing, we never know say them thing exist.
JDIC is the government entity that protects depositors by insuring their deposits up to 1.2 million. So even if a bank fails, you won't lose everything.
A good something this one because me can't take no surprise with my money.
You can't say that again.
JDIC, protecting your deposits,
Securing your future.
JDIC, protecting deposits for you and me.
Continuing the news, Regional Representative for the Jamaica Tourist Board, JTB, Vijay D'Souza, believes the country is well placed to take advantage of the Arabic luxury market. But he believes language and dietary requirements are areas that need to be improved in order to benefit from the significant potential it represents. Mr. D'Souza, who sits on the Gulf Cooperation Council, GCC, spoke with Nationwide News during the recent Jamaica Product Exchange, JPEX 2025. Siobhan Campbell tells us more.
The Gulf Cooperation Council, GCC, is a regional intergovernmental political and economic union comprising Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. The region is made up of several oil-rich nations and boasts some of the highest gross domestic products per capita. It's a region Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett is targeting, along with the high-end luxury tourism that it represents. According to JTB Regional Representative Vijay D'Souza, the potential is there for the taking.
Outbound tourism from GCC is already valued over USD 80 billion. It is set to grow USD 138 billion by 2033. That's a CAGR of 7%, making one of the fastest growing outbound travel region in the world. This is a huge opportunity for destinations that can position themselves effectively so that they can capture a share of rapidly expanding luxury leisure markets.
But he notes that tourists from the region are used to a certain level of hospitality and specific dietary needs. He says Arabic communication and halal dining are a must.
Because you have beautiful beaches, stunning resorts, you have every service international leisure client can opt for. So the only sector you need to tweak or to add in is the gastronomy, that is halal gastronomy, which can bring a lot of attention to the Middle East customers. Also some language brochures which shows like a menu with the Arabic language, maybe some information in Arabic, which will bring a lot of attention to the Middle East customers.
Halal foods are those free from what Muslims consider forbidden substances, like pork and alcohol, and meat must be slaughtered according to specific ritualistic guidelines. Muslims and Arabic speakers make up less than a fraction of a percentage point of Jamaica's population, with very little done to cater to that demographic. But Minister Bartlett says the ministry will potentially change this in the future.
A language is a must. Absolutely, as we expand into the new areas of the world where the tourists are going to come from. The new tourists I mentioned, the 1.5 extra, they are going to be coming from these diverse areas across the world, different languages, different cultural strains. So in addition to dealing with an academy for language, we'll have to look also at the whole matter of cultural development, cross-cultural development, to understand the cultures of these markets that we are going to go into, so that we can be more appropriate in terms of our experiences that we're offering.
Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says the industry can no longer function in an extractive manner. Addressing the media during the Jamaica Product Exchange JPEX 2025 recently, Minister Bartlett stressed the need for local dominance in the supply of tourism products.
We want to make sure that the supply side of tourism is owned by the people of Jamaica. And I see your approbation because you know that should be. Tourism must not be an extractive industry. And therefore, the capacity to absorb the demand side of tourism is on the supply side, and we have to build that out. So we're going to spend a lot of time making sure that more of the authentic experience that you have as a visitor is derived solely from Jamaica and Jamaica.
Edmund Bartlett, Tourism Minister.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose Assembly and Supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
The World in a Minute. Authorities in the Bahamas closed most schools on Monday as Tropical Storm Imelda dumped heavy rain in the northern Caribbean. At least one man was killed in Cuba as rains from Imelda caused landslides in the country. The storm was located about 55 miles north of the Bahamas, which is still recovering from Hurricane Dorian. Imelda is forecast to become a hurricane on Tuesday. A tropical storm warning is now in effect for parts of northwestern Bahamas. Power outages were reported in some areas, with authorities closing government offices on affected islands. Authorities issued mandatory evacuation orders for some islands over the weekend. Overall, Imelda forced the evacuation of some 1,200 people across Cuba, with 158 of them staying in shelters.
U.S. President Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu say they've agreed to a plan to end the war in Gaza, but it's unclear whether Hamas will accept the terms. The agreement follows a meeting between the two leaders at the White House today. Trump laid out a 20-point plan for ending the Israel-Hamas war and establishing a post-war governance in the war-battered Palestinian territory. Trump's plan would establish a temporary governing board that he would lead. The plan does not require people to leave Gaza and calls for the war to end immediately if both sides accept it. It also calls for all remaining hostages to be released within 72 hours of Israel accepting the plan. Trump said Israel would have the full backing of the United States to take steps to defeat Hamas if it doesn't accept the proposed peace deal.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose Assembly and Supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, the police commissioner is expressing confidence the country will record fewer than 1,000 murders this year.
Homicides are down 40% so far this year.
Jamaicans for Justice wants update on permanent appointments for DPP and at the Integrity Commission.
PNP names all its MPs and senators to slate of shadow spokespersons.
I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
Listeners, you can find the news on our website at rivernews.ai and on the River News app. You can find it on the Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
Commercial spaces for you. Parks and attractions for you. Housing and residential developments for you. Beautiful rental properties for you. Improving quality of life through infrastructure development across Jamaica for you. The Urban Development Corporation, making development happen for you. Brought to you by the Urban Development Corporation.
UDC for you. From a single hopeful seed to your family's growing need. Yeah. Nothing is out of reach, no matter how small they seem. Access Financial will always support your dreams. 25 years side by by side. 25 years of joy and pride. 25 years is quite a ride at the heart of helping you thrive.
Access Financial Services, 25 years strong.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Molynes United and Portmore are locked at 0-0 in the first match of a doubleheader in the Rare Nephew Jamaica Premier League. The game being played at Jerusalem Mini Stadium. Portmore, who are currently third in the standings, can join another former champion Montego Bay United at the top if they bag all 3 points tonight. In stark contrast, Molynes United, well, they find themselves near the foot of the table in 13th place, having secured just 3 points from 5 outings. The spotlight will then shift to the 7:30 p.m. kickoff, where home side Waterhouse will face Chapelton Maroons in a battle of redemption. Chapelton, who sit fourth with 10 points, are coming off a draw in their previous fixture and will be aiming to get back to winning ways. Waterhouse are in desperate need of a reset after back-to-back defeats, and it has dropped them to 8th in the table. They've got 6 points. Huzamarty were leading Denham Town 3-1 in action from the ISA Digicel Manning Cup competition. In another update, Tivoli Gardens holding a 2-0 advantage over Tarrant High. Everton and West Ham played out a 1-1 draw to wrap up proceedings in round 6 of the English Premier League on Monday at Goodison Park. Everton took the lead on 18 minutes, courtesy of Michael Keane, and that goal was cancelled out in the 65th by Jared Bowen.
Garner. That's it. And the header's there, it's brilliant! Michael Keane gets the goal for Everton. Bowen with the strike! It's brilliant! That is what they needed. Jared Bowen gets West Ham level, and in some style too.
West Ham were earning their first point in 3 games. Everton were bouncing back from their 2-1 reverse in the previous encounter against Merseyside rivals Liverpool. Nepal delivered a dominant performance to defeat the West Indies by 90 runs in the second T20 International at the Sharjah Cricket Stadium, sealing an unassailable 2-0 lead in their 3-match series. Nepal posted a competitive 173 for 6 from their 20 overs after they were sent to bat. Opener Asif Sheikh was a star man. He scored an impressive 68, while Sundeep Jora weighed in with a blistering 63. The two put in exactly 100 runs for the 4th wicket in 11 overs. Akil Hussain and Carl Mears bagged the 2 wickets apiece for the West Indies. In response, the Windies slumped to 63 for 5 before the 10th over, and the game was over as a contest. Jason Holder top scored with 21, one of 3 players into double figures as the Caribbean team crashed to 83 all-out in 17 overs, and the ball Mohamed Adil Alam and Kushal Bertel crafted super bowling spells to end with 7 wickets between them. Hussain, who is leading the West Indies team, says they failed to properly utilize the power play.
When you're chasing 174, 175 for victory, you're always going to have to rely on your batters to come good for you in the power play. And to come out the power play 16 for 2, you're definitely setting yourself back way behind the 8 ball, so we were always playing catch up. And as I said before, these guys are quite experienced. They've played together for 4 or 5 years, and they know these conditions inside out, and they exploited that really well.
All right, that's Akil Hussain, and he also laments the team's poor showing in the field.
Catches win matches, and on these pitches and surfaces where, it may seem tricky and challenging, if you have your fielders supporting you, diving around, catching like that, that's a plus. Any fielding unit who can go out there and throw their bodies around and save you all these runs is just added plus and good support for the bowlers as well.
Akil is saying the 3rd and final game will be played on Tuesday, with Nepal eyeing a potential sweep. And the West Indies, they've suffered another major injury setback ahead of the 2-test series against India. Antiguan fast bowler Alzarri Joseph has been ruled out after scans revealed the degeneration of a previously resolved lower back injury. Joseph had recently complained of discomfort as subsequent medical scans confirmed a recurrence of the lower back issue. Cricket West Indies medical staff have since recommended a period of rest and rehabilitation. 23-year-old left-arm medium pacer Jediah Blake Blades of Barbados has been named as Joseph's replacement. Blades is currently in Nepal as part of the limited over series and will join the West Indies team in India immediately following that series. Former captain Jason Holder, who had been considered as potential replacement for Joseph, declined selection for India due to a planned medical procedure. The West Indies are set to face India in the first test starting October 2 in Ahmedabad, followed by the second test in Delhi October 10. Alzarri is the second West Indies pacer to miss the India tour to injury a week after it was revealed that Shamar Joseph would take no part in the series and would be re-evaluated ahead of the white ball tour of Bangladesh. And still with West Indies cricket, because the left-arm orthodox spinner Carey Pear has earned his first ever call-up to the West Indies test squad for the series against India. The 34-year-old Trinidadian, known for his control and consistency, was rewarded for a stellar domestic season where he emerged as the leading wicket taker in the recent West Indies Championship. His impressive performances have not gone unnoticed by selectors who believe he can bring a new dimension to the test bowling attack. Pear described the selection as, quote, a dream come true.
Privileged to represent the West Indies, something that I dreamt of when I was young. Watching the West Indies play, like Sabran and these guys, I was watching Test cricket, so I was really happy. I couldn't put together the words, or the feeling at that moment.
And while acknowledging the challenge of breaking into the playing 11 on a tour as demanding as India, Pear remains hopeful.
I just wanted to help the team win. I think whatever role I have to play in the team, I want to do it to the best of my ability. And I'm going to go out there, I'm going to give 110% as I said before, no matter what team I play for. And but whatever role the team wants me to play, I'm just going to do it to the best of my ability.
That's Carey Pear. The West Indies are set to play 2 tests in India as part of the ongoing World Test Championship cycle. And that will do it for sports. We're going to be back with more at 6.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
Cubby's Baby Wipes is ideal for your baby's delicate skin, infused with vitamin E and aloe vera, and available for home or on the go. The time by Cubby's Baby Wipes is
5:31.
From Kingston to the world, from Montego Bay to new adventures, and from Ocherias to endless possibilities. Wherever you're headed, we will proudly take you there. Jamaica's Airport, your global gateway. The temperature brought to you by the Airports Authority of Jamaica is
30 degrees Celsius here in the nation's capital, Kingston. It's 29 in the western city, Montego Bay.
Now, PrEP makes it so easy. One pill before you link, prevent HIV.
PrEP makes it so easy. One pill before you link, prevent HIV.
You want to do your thing with your queen or your king.
Or I get a little frisky that make you flex risky.
PrEP, are you extra bucketed?
To help you stay HIV negative.
PrEP makes it so easy. One pill before you link, prevent HIV.
PrEP tablets available at your clinic from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Spring into style with Unique Living. Upgrade your home with our extensive range of products. Get sleek shower panels, stylish vanities, LED and non-LED mirrors, plus kitchen sinks, closet solutions, ceiling fans, and more. Available in various finishes and sizes. Visit shop number 6, 30 Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston 10. Call 876-755-3661 or visit our website at www.uniquelivingja.com. Don't wait to spring into style with Unique Living.
Jamaica's largest tile selection just got even bigger. Discover what's new at Active Home Center. With our latest arrivals, it's easier than ever to make your space truly unique. Explore ocean blues, botanical greens, and soft sandy neutrals that bring a calm, effortless vibe. From bold patterns to sleek, large format tiles in glossy or matte finishes, every room makes a statement. Shop now at Active Kingston and Montego Bay. Active Home Center. More savings, more choices.
Hey, did you hear? JUTC just launched Rural Express routes.
Really? Where to?
Travel to and from Kingston with direct routes to Ocherias, Montego Bay, Negril, Mandeville, Maypen, and coming soon, Port Antonio.
Wow, that sounds convenient, but must be pricey.
Not at all. Special introductory fare just $2,000. Except for Maypen, that's just $1,500. JUTC Rural Express is here. Your ticket to comfort, connection, and convenience at a price that fits your budget. Whether it's family, school, or a weekend getaway, travel to Jamaica's top destinations with ease and enjoy a smooth, stress-free ride. Visit our social media at JUTC Ltd or log on to www.jutc.gov.jm for schedules.
Is your money idling when it could be thriving? With CIBC Caribbean's fixed deposit offering, you can take charge of your cash. With 50,000 Jamaican to start, choose terms from 30 days to 2 years. Lock in your funds and enjoy premium rates guaranteed to grow your wealth. Whether you're eyeing short or long-term gains, our fixed deposit account puts you firmly in control of your money. Now is the time to open a CIBC fixed deposit account and start earning more today. CIBC, ambitions made real.
Give your team a glow up at the 2025 Business and Personal Etiquette Conference on November 6th at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. Procure the presence, polish, and professionalism to make your team unforgettable. Hosted by Make Your Mark Consultants in partnership with Caledonia Outdoor Advertising, Visual Tech Solutions, Nationwide 90 FM, Main Event, and more. Register now at makeyourmarkgroup.com or call 876-978-6001 for the Business and Personal Etiquette Conference.
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, "By God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark path." Unquote. Psalm 119, verse 105. Listen for God's Word weekdays at 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. through
Oasis. Stop by for a refreshing drink and share a God perspective for the day.
Oasis. Weekdays 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. right here on Nationwide, a revolution in media.
The rebroadcast of The Oasis can be heard weekdays at 5:45 a.m.
Cover Story is brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Save fast and accepted in more locations.
Multilink. Access every time, everywhere I go. Multilink. 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use Multilink. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere. Spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the Multilink logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multilink. 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my Multilink?
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide at 5. I'm Cliff Hughes.
Good afternoon, Cliff. Good afternoon, listeners. My name is Ricardo Brooks.
Good afternoon, Ricardo. And let me tell you, listeners, we are scheduled to speak to the issue of persons involved in the public service being participating in partisan politics. But just before we came on air, we got a summary of the Monetary Policy Discussion and Decisions of the Bank of Jamaica Monetary Policy Committee, the MPC of the Bank of Jamaica, and it makes for interesting reading because it gives us some insight into the performance of the Jamaican economy and the monetary systems. And Ricardo, interesting tidbits of information coming, especially as it relates to reduction in inflation and growth.
Right. The BOJ says the reduction in inflation at August 2025 occurred despite improvements in domestic demand. The economy grew in the March 2025 quarter and is estimated to have expanded in the June and September 2025 quarters. And this is the important part, listeners. The BOJ says growth for the September 2025 quarter is estimated in the range of 3 to 4%.
This continued expansion is consistent
with a tight labor market and anecdotal information on elevated wage growth. Growth in the economy is expected to be maintained over the next 2 years. And this is significant because we haven't had a growth anywhere near 3 to 4% for quite some time now.
Since before the COVID recovery, certainly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also interested in the point that this is occasioned by anecdotal information on elevated wage growth.
Mm-hmm.
So people are earning more.
Yes.
Is what the BOJ is saying.
Mm-hmm. According to the BOJ statement, and we're going to have more on this because we are digging into the archives to put this number in perspective as we try to come to terms with this just coming to hand. But also our parliamentary reporter, Siobhan Campbell, was pointing out, Ricardo, that the BOJ growth figures tend to be a little bit more than those of the Planning Institute of Jamaica. So I want to put that context to this as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but certainly the headline out of this, according to the Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank, the economy grew in the March 2025 quarter and is estimated to have expanded in the June and September quarters, 2025 quarters. According to the statement from the BOJ, growth for the September 2025 quarter is estimated in the range of 3 to 4%. This continued expansion, it says, is consistent with a tight labor market and anecdotal information on elevated wage growth. Growth in the economy is expected to be maintained over the next 2 years.
We'll have more on this later on in the nation's business as we try to put it in context for you.
Yes. One other interesting point, according to the MPC, that's the Monetary Policy Committee, the temporary factors that caused low headline inflation in August last month, 2025, were primarily related to improvements in supply conditions. In particular, says the BOJ, agricultural prices during the month were lower than a year earlier when prices rose due to the negative impact of Hurricane Beryl on domestic crop production.
That's right. The BOJ says supplies improved subsequent to the adverse weather, leading to prices reverting to more normal levels. In addition, the dissipation of the impact of a previous adjustment in public transport fares, as well as reduction in the General Consumption Tax GCT on electricity consumption announced by the government in March of this year, contributed to lower than targeted inflation. Mm-hmm. It says, notwithstanding these temporary shocks, core inflation, which excludes the prices of agricultural food products and fuel from the Consumer Price Index CPI, was 4.2% as at August 2025, remaining within the target range since March of this year.
So that's good news on the inflation front. But then it says, and this is the real story out of this for those of us in business, consumers, lending rates, interest rates. It says, against the background of these developments, the Monetary Policy Committee unanimously agreed to 1, hold the policy rate, that's the rate offered to deposit-taking institutions, DTIs, on their current account balances at 5.75% per annum.
And 2, to continue taking measures to preserve relative stability in the foreign exchange market.
And they also say the following considerations informed their decisions. The outlook for real economic activity for the fiscal year 2025-26 and 26-27 is likely to be in line with the last forecast. Preliminary indicators suggest that the economy should expand in the September 25 quarter, resulting from expansions in electricity and water supply, agriculture, and tourism and its allied services. Thereafter, economic activity is anticipated to strengthen throughout financial year 25-26.
In this context, it says real gross domestic product GDP is projected to recover in financial year 25-26 in the range of 1 to 3%, largely due to growth in the agriculture, mining, and tourism sectors.
Okay. All right, we're going to have more in detail on this in our subsequent newscast. But after the break, the issue of civil servants, participating in politics, after the break.
Protecting your personal data is a priority for the Jamaica Customs Agency. We urge you to use the agency's official platforms to conduct your business. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
16 minutes to 6.
Burn Chuck fried chicken always ready. Burn Chuck, original crispy. Burn Chuck, Cajun spicy. Burn Chuck, a barbecue. Burn Chuck, we are going Burn Chuck.
The temperature brought to you by Bird Shack Fried Chicken in Montego Bay and Ocho Rios is...
It's 29 out west in Montego Bay. It's also 29 in the resort town of Ocho Rios.
We are the best at what we do. At Hose Assembly and Supply Limited, we supply hose fittings and tools. We guarantee we can't be beaten when price and quality are combined. You brand us the hose and tool boss because we deliver the most effective industrial solutions. Come in and experience the joy of shopping with Hose Assembly and Supply Limited. Call us 876-923-3936 or visit 173 Hagley Park Road, 2 Charlesworth Crescent or Montego Bay Trade Center. Hose Assembly and Supply Limited. More than just hoses. Now open every Sunday.
Do it for your best life, great. Go check your HIV status, great. So keep your life trending, no pretending. Me I tell yourself it, do it for you, do it for you. Every time you are link with a condom, coulda husy, coulda wife, coulda be a random. Condom connect and protect your profile. Be your own fan, do it for your best life, great. Do it for your best life, great. Don't put yourself at risk. Condom connect every time. Do it for your best life.
60 years strong and just getting started. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of Jamaica proudly presents its annual business conference, the highlight of its 60th anniversary year. Join them Thursday, October 9 at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. Hear from keynote speaker, CEO of the Jamaica Stock Exchange, Mr. Livingston Morrison, plus top industry leaders on global trade, the evolving CFO role, and AI in accounting. Don't miss it. Register by October 4 at icaj.org.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
I'm Cliff Hughes.
And the issue of civil servants being barred from engaging in political activity has again been brought to the fore. This after a news story published in the Jamaica Gleaner claiming a junior doctor has been suspended and scheduled to face disciplinary hearings after he contested the September 3 general election. Now, according to Section 426 of the Staff Orders for the Public Service, civil servants are expressly forbidden to engage in any type of partisan political activity in any elections at any level.
It goes on to say that in the exercise of official duties, no service or benefit should be denied or provided to anyone on the basis of partisan political affiliation. This afternoon, we want to look at the history of the rule and whether it's time for it to be changed. Returning to the Member of Parliament for North Central Clarendon, Robert Nestor Morgan, and the former president of the Jamaica Civil Service Association, O'Neill Grant. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Mm-hmm. Good afternoon,
good afternoon,
gentlemen.
Good afternoon, Steve. Good afternoon,
good afternoon,
Mr. Grant, and to your listeners as well.
Good afternoon, Minister.
First of all, let me ask you from a philosophical point of view, yes? Shouldn't we abandon this so-called official staff orders and regulations now well into the 21st century and allow people to express their political views and declare their hands? All right, let me begin with Mr. Morgan and then Mr. Grant.
Okay. As we evolve, yes, we need to reconsider our policies, but we have to ask ourselves, why was the policy put in place? The public service traditionally has been said should be separate from the political process. I mean, we have evolved in a place in Jamaica where sometimes the lines are blurred. but the rules are there for a reason. And somebody said to me today, what if there's a case where the minister and the permanent secretary are both running for the same seat if we remove the rule? How would you work that out? So there is a role for the rule. I mean, there's always need for review of every rule. But as somebody who has, well, I could say could have been a victim of the rule at one point in time, thanks to Mr. Grant, I think that there's a purpose for it, and I don't see why it should be removed.
Remind us of how it impacted you.
So I made the error while I was director of communications of stating publicly that I want to run for a seat, which was based on the reading of the law. Could have been considered a breach of the rules, because as a public servant you're not supposed to express openly political views. And Mr. Grant did opine that, listen, he should resign. Well, I did resign eventually, because I became a senator. But I wasn't aware of the details of the rule at the time.
Yes.
But the rule is there for a purpose, and it's there to protect not just the civil servants, but also the democracy.
Let me ask you, O'Neill Grant, because I saw Carol Narcisse of Jamaica Accountability Meter Portal tweeting, and she said that she's looking forward to the test of the constitutionality of what she says has been a selectively applied clause. To the best of your knowledge, has this been selectively applied, as in to punish one party or the other?
No, it has not been selectively applied. In my tenure in the public service, whenever it has happened that we see public officers appearing on political platform, we would have notified the Public Service Commission, which should have notified the officer that they should cease and desist. And in those instances, officers will withdraw themselves from the political activity. But I can't recall that of any one person going through and actually competing in an election while still serving as a public officer. And that, I think, is where persons may be thinking that this has never happened before. But there have been instances in the past where we would have seen persons who would have made themselves available or declared themselves that they wish to enter the political fray. And they were duly cautioned, and having received the caution, they would have made a decision whether to continue in the public service or to go fully over onto the political side. As Minister Morgan has indicated, he chose to go over to the political side. There were persons who decided not to relinquish to the service jobs and remain in the public sector.
So just to step back a little, according to the staff orders now, as I understand them, if it is your intention to declare your hand politically, you're required to indicate to the authorities and to what? Resign or take a leave of absence? What is this? What does it say now?
I think that is where the staff orders is not very clear. It actually speaks to the political activity in the realm of conduct and not necessarily in the realm of service. And I think that is where we need a refinement of the rules to determine if an officer wishes to go into political life, how should that officer conduct themselves? Right now, as it stands, if the officer is wishing to move over, they have to relinquish their public sector jobs because the rule is clear. It is said expressly forbidden. And once something is so deeply expressed, then the officer has to make a choice to go over onto the political side. They can't do both. They can't hold on to the job to see what happens after the date of the election. They have to make a choice at that point in time.
And we should remind the listeners that the Ministry of Health and Wellness, at least, I recall, about 2 months before or more, before the general election, did issue guidance that officers of the ministry should not be engaging politically.
But I want to raise another aspect to this, though. Why are these staff orders not applicable to teachers? Teachers in Jamaica are notorious for being partisan, openly campaigning and seeking political office, but yet they are, as public servants, allowed to continue teaching.
Under the Westminster model, the teaching service has never been characterized as part of the the administrative arm of the civil service. What we are seeing now being applied is an outcropping of the Westminster style of politics, which does not recognize the service as of teaching in the way that we would treat with other public officers. Now, that may change, given how we are now unifying all public officers under the Civil Service Pensions Act. Mm-hmm. And given that change that is now being caused by other pieces of legislation, it may now be necessary to review the entire gamut of rules as it relates to public political activity by all public officers and not just to some. Because the reason for having this exclusion is diminishing, and it is dimming even as we speak.
Mm-hmm. But if, remember, this matter was tested in the court, and I'm not speaking about the particular instance because I did not even know about it until I saw it in the papers. But Justice Sykes did rule in 2018 that Dean Jones had to vacate his seat because he decided to run as a councillor for the Yalas Division while being a civil servant. So the court did look into the matter not very long ago. Because based on how you look at it, it's a very young precedent. So the courts have looked at it, and no less than the Chief Justice himself who ruled on the matter. So yes, I agree, we have to evolve the law, but we also have to depend on the courts for guidance as to how the law is being interpreted. Right. There are always going to be circumstances where legislators and the parliament have to look and see whether or not we've reached a stage where we need to evolve. But we also have to look at the circumstances that exist within the society as to whether or not that evolution is right at the current moment.
And that's what I want to ask you, MP Morgan, Minister Morgan, because you engage obviously with public officers every day. What are some of the harms you see if indeed this goes to a constitutional challenge and the court says it is not something that can continue? What are some of the harms you think could arise from that?
Well, to be honest with you, we all know we're in Jamaica. Almost everybody has a view, whether it is apolitical, JLP, PNP, right? So that's a nature. I think what the law does is it creates a check on open political action by persons who are supposed to act in an unbiased way. Yes, people have their personal views, and the law doesn't prevent you from voting, doesn't disenfranchise you. What it says is that if you decide to take that ultimate step of engaging in political activism, then you will be sanctioned. That is something that I think is remember we're a young democracy, we're not like the UK that has been around since Nelson and the Magna Carta, the United States that is 200 years old. We are only 60 odd years old. So our laws and our rules are evolving, and as the society becomes more modern and the institutions become stronger, we may need to change these. But I don't know, and the court will have to opine on it, if it is indeed taken to court, whether or not we're at that stage yet. I don't think we are. And
it's interesting that we draw reference to the UK because from where we spring in terms of the laws, but in terms of the practice in the UK, they have long evolved a system of honor and impartiality where the civil service is concerned in Jamaica. That effort to transplant that system to Jamaica came under serious stress in the 1970s. Don't forget the accreditation committee of the Pickers, of Robert Pickersgill, and the PNP administration, where that was turned on its head, where people who were going into the civil service had to pass the political smell test. And that has laid bare the hypocrisy of our system, where we continue to believe that, because he's a civil servant, he's impartial or non-political. That is long gone. And it is, I think, a moment for us to seriously confront the reality that in Jamaica, we don't have those creatures anymore. Yeah, people have political views.
Here's the complexity around that issue as well, is that any administration will want to have public officers, senior public officers that is in a position to carry out their mandate. And the whole issue of political neutrality and impartiality is sometimes appears a bit vague in that regard, because whilst it is not expressly and explicitly stated, there is no political administration that is not going to want to ensure or desire to have persons who are not going to act contrary to the policies and the program of the ruling administration. And that is where we have to ensure that whoever persons come into the public service, that their impartiality and their neutrality cannot be challenged. And it cannot be successfully challenged if they remain off the political platform.
But it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that they are politically neutral or impartial.
No,
and this is where I have a fundamental problem with the British system. It's time, because why not look to how the Americans do it? Yeah, you declare your political affiliation, and we decide the positions in the civil service, whether it is 1,000 or 2,000
which are in the gift of the administration.
Which are in the gift of the administration in power. And we take a time, 3-4 months before we change administrations. It's a reason why the Americans elect their president the first Tuesday in November. But he's not sworn into office until the 3rd week of January, because they do not pretend, as we have been doing, based on the British legacy, that, it's a seamless transition because we have men and women of honor and political neutrality. We don't. Yeah, so ministers will tell you.
Would you support that, O'Neill Grant, to identify specific posts in the public service that should be in the gift of the administration?
No. The public service is a unique place, and the public servant is a unique creature under the Constitution.
Precisely.
Particularly as you go further.
And that's why we have to change it. That's why we should change it.
Let me hear it, please.
No, that's not the reason for changing it. That's the reason for keeping it.
No.
Because one of the things that we must ensure from wherever persons come from is that once they reach the public service, then they must be impartial and neutral in the execution of their duties. And they must ensure, particularly very top, that the tenure that they have under the Constitution is preserved by their actions and what flows from them.
But isn't that wishful thinking, though, Neil Grant?
No, it's not, because if we test what happens in our public, service, let us take it from the top, where we have our permanent secretary. They have to go through a particular process in order for them to be seen as permanent secretaries and chosen to be permanent secretaries. The Prime Minister has a hand in determining which officers become permanent secretaries, but once they get there, they are not bound to any one decision maker in terms of who puts them
there. But that is
government.
Exactly the point, O'Neill Grant, because if an administration changes...
in the United States.
Hold on. Let me finish.
Let
me finish. But if the administration changes and a permanent secretary was appointed on the recommendation of a previous prime minister, what is to prevent that permanent secretary simply being obstructionist?
You're missing a step, Mr. Grant and Ricardo. The permanent secretary is not, quote unquote, appointed by the Prime Minister. The permanent secretary still has to go through a very involved process that includes the Public Service Commission, which is a very public process. So it's not a case where the Prime Minister gets up tomorrow and say, Mr. Grant, you're a permanent secretary. No.
But he can recommend. He certainly can recommend.
But there are various checks and balances and rules within the public service that acts as a kind of guard against open political activism by any public actor. And it's very important based on the history where we're coming from. As I said, we're a young democracy where political actors at times act in ways that are inimical to the good governance of the society. And the public service is probably one of the last bastions where we can be confident that generally political action does not negatively, on a wide scale, impact how the country is governed.
Gentlemen,
I don't share that optimism.
Exactly, I don't.
That optimism.
Yeah, I don't. And we continue with this British system, our perspective about impartiality and neutrality. Rubbish. It does not exist in 2025.
It doesn't exist.
We're out of time, though. We're out of time. O'Neill Grant, Robert Nestor Morgan.
Optimism is for the youth, so me and Mr. Grant will stand with optimism.
Well, I'm young and I'm not optimistic.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. That's a cover story. The headlines are next.
Cover Story was brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
4 minutes after 6.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening. With the headlines at 6, I'm Norige Banton. The Bank of Jamaica, BOJ, is anticipating 3 to 4% growth in the economy for the quarter ending September. The BOJ gave the estimate as part of its quarterly report on Monday. The BOJ says this continued expansion is consistent with a tight labor market and anecdotal information on elevated wage growth. It says growth in the economy is expected to be maintained over the next 2 years. Police Commissioner Dr. Kevin Blake is expressing confidence the force will be able to sustain the current homicide trends, which would see the country recording its lowest annual murder tally in decades. The nation's commissioner says the force has not built the current murder reduction strategy purely on hope. He says he expects the strategic moves made so far this year to continue to offer positive results.
Are you and the High Command and the team approaching this last quarter nervous that the numbers will hold? Or are you confident in what you're doing?
I'm very confident. Listen, if this were buck-up, George, for want of a better term, if we were pursuing a strategy of hope, this would have been derailed long ago. We indicated from the beginning what the objectives are. We were the one who publicly announced a sub 1,000, and we aim towards a sub 1,000. These are deliberate. They are deliberate, and we are able to achieve it because the investment in us, not just monetary investment, but goodwill and support from our stakeholders and the government. The investment and us understanding how to produce return on that investment.
Dr. Blake was speaking on Nationwide this morning on Monday. Between January 1 and August 31 this year, Jamaica has recorded its lowest level of murders in 23 years. 459 homicides have been recorded over the period. The country's deadliest period on record came in 2009 when 1,683 murders were reported. By contrast, the lowest annual total was in 2003 with 976 murders. Based on the current pace, the projected murder tally for the final 4 months of 2025 is 229. Executive Director of Jamaicans for Justice JFJ Michael Jackson has raised concerns that 3 important state offices continue to operate without permanent leadership. The offices are the Director of Public Prosecutions, Executive Director and Director of Corruption Prosecution of the Integrity Commission.
I think it is concerning that we now have an acting DPP, though qualified, because we all knew that September 19 was coming. And I think it's important for us to get an update as to where we are with appointing the new DPP in a permanent manner. I also share a concern with the fact that we still do not have an executive director over by the Integrity Commission and that the Director of Corruption Prosecution is acting.
Paula Llewellyn resigned as DPP on September 19 after 17 years in office. Within the Integrity Commission, Greg Christie's tenure as Executive Director ended in May this year. This followed the departure of Keisha Prince Kamika as Director of Corruption Prosecution a month earlier. Both positions within the anti-corruption body were subsequently advertised. Ms. Jackson is calling for an update on vacancies.
I was advised that the terms of reference that advertised the two positions, Executive Director and Director of Corruption Prosecution. It closed for the Executive Director on May 9. That's 4.5 months ago. And for the Director of Corruption Prosecution, that closed March 28. Today is now September 29. I think the country needs answers because we cannot have these critical offices overseeing critical matters and we do not have permanent appointments. I think that is untenable, and I think the responsible agencies owe the country an update.
Michael Jackson, Executive Director of Jamaicans for Justice. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Nora Gay Banton. Sports is next.
Looking for superior quality transportation from an international award-winning provider? Well, look no further. Choose Island Car Rentals, Jamaica's leading car rental company, setting the standard for ground transportation in Jamaica. For over 50 years, Island Car Rentals has been your trusted partner for reliable, top-quality vehicles. But we're more than just a car rental company. Need an airport transfer at any hour? Heading out of town and want to travel in style with a private chauffeur? Need a truck to rent for business or personal use? Or maybe you need a customized shuttle or tour for a large or a small group. Whatever your transportation need, Island Car Rentals has you covered. Call us today at 876-926-8012 or 876-929-5875 or visit www.islandcarrentals.com to book your next trip. Because Island people take better care of you.
Still sweating with that old fan? It's time to upgrade! Meet Glacier, the AC unit that thinks for you. Energy efficient to slash your power bill. Wi-Fi enabled so you can control it from your phone. And self-cleaning because you've got better things to do. Powerful, smart, hassle-free. Call now at 876-923-6521-3. Gaddy's Refrigeration Limited, delivering the perfect cooling solution tailored to your needs.
Enough power tool, big to small. Chaka my figure dig the wall. Upper Total Tools. Beat back a figure trim the lawn. We have everything a job demand. Total Tools. We rent them, sell them and fix them. Also give Total Tools a call. When I say home improvement, landscape construction, a Total Tools are your option. Home improvement, landscape construction, Total Tools are your option. Total Tools located at 102 Main Street, Ocho Rios, 34 Slibe Road, Kingston. And lot C6 Jacksaw, Sentence Bay. Call us today.
It's Monday, get over your blues. Or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
The E-Zone is here for you.
With the Stinger Honeybee
and Karim Boyatings
from 3 to 5 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM.
We've got your entertainment news.
Then we want to hear your views. Why you say?
Jump in the mix.
Or the hot seat.
Don't miss our brain busters.
Or the crazy giveaways.
Let's talk fashion.
Send us your outfit of the day. Ooh, cutesy. Very demure.
Are you looking for love?
Come on one of our blind dates. Send your request to ezoneblindates@gmail.com. That's ezoneblindates@gmail.com.
And stay tuned for your confessions.
These are my confessions. Share them with us at ezoneconfessions@yahoo.com. I mean, is this planet Earth?
Is it?
I don't know. Let me check. Either way, it's got a buzz.
And a bugger thing.
Ow. Ow.
It is God who always is pursuing us. Not we trying to pursue God and can't find him. And if you are frantically trying to get God to do this or that for you, my advice for you is chill out and realize that God is saying to every one of us, be still and know that I am God.
Learn more on Leading the Way with Dr. Michael Youssef.
Leading the Way airs on Sundays 11 to 11:30 a.m. on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media.
Good evening with your sports report. I am Alex Ribby.
And I'm Oreen Buchanan.
We kick things off with some football as Mullines United and Portmore United are currently locked at 0-0 in the first match of a doubleheader in the Ray and Neville Jamaica Premier League at the Jerusalem Mini Stadium. Portmore, who are currently third in the standings, can join another former champions, Montego Bay United, at the top if they bag all 3 points. In stark contrast, Mullange United find themselves near the foot of the table in 13th place, having secured just 3 points from 5 outings. The spotlight will then shift to the 7:30 p.m. kickoff, where home side Waterhouse face Chapelton Maroons in a battle of redemption. Chapelton, who sits fourth with 10 points, are coming off a draw in their previous fixture and will be aiming to get back to winning ways. Waterhouse are in desperate need of a reset after back-to-back defeats dropped them to 8th on the table with 6 points.
There was no shortage of goals in today's Issa Digicel Manning Cup action as Jose Marti and Tivoli Gardens both delivered dominant performances. Host Jose Marti High made a strong statement with a commanding 5-1 victory over Denham Town. Meanwhile, Tivoli Gardens High ran riot with a 5-0 demolition of Tarrant High.
Everton and West Ham played out a 1-1 draw to wrap up proceedings in round 6 of the English Premier League on Monday at Goodison Park. Everton took the lead in the 18th minute courtesy of a Michael Keane strike, which was cancelled out in the 65th minute by Gerard Bowen.
Garner. Is it in? And the header's there, it's brilliant! Michael Keane gets the goal for Everton. Bowen with a strike! It's brilliant! That is what they needed. Jared Bowen gets West Ham level, and in some style too.
The point earned by West Ham was their first in 3 games, while Everton were bouncing back from their 2-1 defeat in their previous encounter against Liverpool.
Now to cricket. Nepal delivered a dominant performance to defeat the West Indies by 90 runs in the second T20 International at the Sharjah Cricket Association Stadium, sealing an unassailable 2-0 lead in the 3-match series. Nepal posted a competitive 173 for 6 from their 20 overs after deciding to bat first. Opener Asif Sheikh was the star of the show with an impressive 68 not out, while Sundeep Johra weighed in with a blistering 63. The two put on exactly 100 runs for the 4th wicket in 11 overs. Akil Hussain and Kyle Mears bagged 2 wickets apiece for the Windies. In reply, the Windies slumped to 63 for 5 before the 10th over, and the game was over as a contest. Jason Hole, the top scorer with 21, one of 3 players into double figures as the Caribbean team crashed out to 83 all out in 17.1 overs. Mohamed Adil Alam and Kushal Bertels crafted superb bowling spells to end with 7 wickets between them. Hussain, who's leading the West Indies team, says they failed to properly utilise the power play.
When you're chasing 174, 175 for victory, you're always going to have to rely on your batters to come good for you in the power play. And to come out the power play 16 for 2, you're definitely setting yourself back way behind the 8 ball, so we were always playing catch up. And as I said before, these guys are quite experienced. They've played together for 4 or 5 years and they know these conditions inside out, and they exploited that really well.
Hussain also laments the team's poor showing in the field.
Catches win matches, and on these pitches and surfaces where it may seem tricky and challenging, if you have your fielders supporting you, diving around, catching like that, that's a plus. Any fielding unit who can go out there and throw their bodies around and save you all these runs is just added plus and good support for the bowlers as well.
The 3rd and final match will be played on Tuesday, with Nepal eyeing a potential sweep.
Now, West Indies has suffered another major injury setback ahead of the 2-test series against India. Antiguan fast bowler Alzarri Joseph has been ruled out after scans revealed a degeneration of a previously resolved lower back injury. Joseph had recently complained of discomfort as subsequent medical scans confirmed a resurgence of the lower back issue. Cricket West Indies medical staff have since recommended a period of rest and rehabilitation. 23-year-old left-arm medium pacer Jadea Blades of Barbados has been named as Joseph's replacement. Blades is currently in Nepal as part of the limited overs series and will join the team in India immediately following the series. Former captain Jason Holder, who had been considered as a potential replacement for Joseph, declined selection for the India series due to a planned medical procedure. The West Indies are set to face India in the first test beginning October 2 in Ahmedabad, followed by the second test in Delhi from October 10. Alzarri is the second West Indies pacer to miss the India tour due to injury, a week after it was revealed that Shamar Joseph would take no part in the series and would be re-evaluated ahead of the white ball tour of Bangladesh.
Left-arm orthodox spinner Kari Peer has earned his first ever call-up to the West Indies Test squad for the upcoming tour of India, marking a significant milestone in his cricketing journey. The 34-year-old Trinidadian, known for his control and consistency, was rewarded for a stellar domestic season where he emerged as the leading wicket taker in the recent West Indies Championships. His impressive performances have not gone unnoticed by selectors who believe he can bring a new dimension to the Test bowling attack. Pierre described the selection as a dream come true.
Privileged to represent the West Indies, something that I dreamt of when I was young. Watching the West Indies play, the likes of Brian Lara and these guys, I was watching Test cricket, so I was really happy. I couldn't put together the words, or the feeling at that moment.
While acknowledging the challenges of breaking into the playing 11 on a tour as demanding as India, Pierre remains hopeful.
I just want to help the team win. I think whatever role I have to play in the team, I want to do it to the best of my ability. And I'm going to go out there, I'm going to give out 110% as I said before, no matter what team I play for. And but whatever role the team wants me to play, I'm just going to do it to the best of my ability.
Kari Peer. The West Indies are set to play 2 tests in India as part of the ongoing World Test Championship cycle.
Now to cycling, as 4 of Jamaica's top cyclists will depart the island next week to represent the nation at the 2025 Caribbean Elite Road Cycling Championships scheduled for October 9 to 13 in Belize. The championships will see riders from 15 Caribbean countries compete for regional glory and coveted qualifying spots for the 2026 Caribbean and Central American Games set to be held in Santo Domingo from July 24 to August 8. The Jamaican contingent includes Andre Ramsey, Jaquan Dixon, Melvin McFarlane and Laurie Sharp, under the guidance of national coach Carlton Simmons. Veteran rider Ramsey, a former national champion, brings experience and resilience to the team. Having competed in previous Caribbean championships, Ramsey is focused and ready to take on the regional field once again. However, all eyes will also be on a newcomer McFarlane, who caused an upset earlier this year by edging out Ramsey at the 2025 National Championships in July, claiming his first national title. Both Ramsey and McFarlane will compete in the elite men's category. Dixon, a rising talent and no stranger to the regional stage, will compete in the under-23 category. His familiarity with regional competition and consistent performances make him a strong contender for a top finish. On the women's side, Sharp is set to make a determined return following a recent injury. Sharp, who was struck by a motorist during training earlier this year, has made a strong recovery and is looking to defend her title at the championships. A victory in Belize would also secure her a spot at the CSC Games next summer.
To basketball, as Game 2 of the GK1 Howard McCarthy Community Basketball League Best of 3 final between the Hexhead Heat and Grandspent Giants has been rescheduled for Tuesday at the stadium courts. The game was originally set to be played last Saturday but was postponed due to rain. The Hexhead Heat currently leads the series 1-0 after a commanding 84-69 victory in Game 1. With a win on Tuesday, the Heats could seal the championships, while the Giants will be fighting to stay alive and force a decisive Game 3. In the third place playoff, Edgewater Wolverines secured a 70-62 win over CBA. Kennard Smith led the way for the Wolverines with a standout performance, tallying 19 points and 13 rebounds to help his team clinch the bronze.
I'm Alric Swaby.
I'm Maureen Buchanan. That's your sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:22.
Want to save money and still protect your engine? Get Chevron Supreme Sin Blend Motor Oil, the blue bottle with a silver stripe. Now upgraded to synthetic blend, so your engine runs cleaner, longer, and stronger. Now available island-wide at service stations and leading auto parts stores. Ask for Chevron Motor Oil, your favorite blue bottle with a silver stripe. That's Chevron Sin Blend. Your engine, good friend.
Hey, did you hear? JUTC just launched Rural Express routes.
Really? Where to?
Travel to and from Kingston with direct routes to Orcharius, Montego Bay, Negril, Mandeville, Maypen, and coming soon, Port Antonio.
Wow, that sounds convenient, but must be pricey.
Not at all. Special introductory fare just $2,000. Except for Maypen, that's just $1,500. The JUTC Rural Express is here. Your ticket to comfort, connection, and convenience at a price that fits your budget. Whether it's family, school, or a weekend getaway, travel to Jamaica's top destinations with ease and enjoy a smooth, stress-free ride. Visit our social media at JUTC Ltd or log on to www.jutc.gov.jm for schedules.
From a single hopeful seed to your family's growing need.
Yeah.
Nothing is out of reach, no matter how small they seem. Access Financial will always support your dreams. 25 years, side by side. 25 years, your joy and pride. 25 years is quite a ride at the heart of helping you thrive.
Access Financial Services, 25 years strong.
If it's in the public's interest, it's the nation's business during Nationwide at 5. The nation's business.
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, by God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark path. Unquote. Psalm 119, verse 105. Listen for God's word weekdays at 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. through
Oasis. Stop by for a refreshing drink and share a God perspective for the day.
Oasis. Weekdays 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. right here on Nationwide, a revolution in media.
The rebroadcast of the Oasis can be heard weekdays at 5:45 a.m.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Robianne Williams. It's a wonderful Monday evening. It's a new week. Let's make the best of it. A special good evening to our friends on our YouTube platform. Thank you so much for tuning in. You know we like to hear from you, so we ask you to weigh in live in the comments section on today's Public Opinion. So Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Kamina Johnson-Smith, she says Jamaica's decision to remain seated during the recent address to the United Nations General Assembly by the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is consistent with long-standing diplomatic practice.
Jamaica has never walked out on any delegation. That's not how we practice diplomacy. It's not how we practice international affairs. We listen, whether we disagree or don't disagree, we listen, and we think that if there was perhaps more of that in the world, that we would have a bit more peace and a bit more coming together of positions.
On Friday, diplomats from more than 50 countries, including some CARICOM states, walked out as soon as it was announced that Netanyahu would address the assembly. The protest was aimed at rejecting Israel's military actions in Gaza and Netanyahu's rhetoric. So, we're asking in Public Opinion this evening, we want to know from you, members of the public, what's your reaction to Jamaica's decision not to walk out during the Israeli Prime Minister's address at the UN? Serious business now. On Facebook, I'll start there. Christine Reed is questioning, why should we? Did we walk out when Abbas, the PLO leader, was giving his speech? No, we did not. Do the maths. Salome Paul is saying the PM did the right thing. We are a small island state. We can't afford to pick sides in these conflicts. According to Philip Jackson, he's saying a soft answer turn it away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. Don't fight fire with fire. He's saying ignorance is priceless. Be diplomatic. Elarita Mitchell, Jamaica should not be absolute in its approach to the Israel and Palestinian conflict. In the middle is where Jamaica should stand. Listen to both sides, then make suggestion. I love Andrew's approach to conflicts. He prefers dialogue instead of aggression. Boss Lady is saying that she thanks the government for staying in their lane. Choose fight, you're sure to win. Yeah? For George Elliott answering this question, Jamaica took an absolutely correct decision. Our presence there is to state our own case and those of CARICOM countries, not to walk out on nor protest any heads of government presentation. All right, Anne-Marie using a proverb here. Cockroach don't belong in a full fight. All right, Daphne McCreath is saying, not at all. Cockroach, same thing. Cockroach no business in a full fight. Sit and observe. According to Marcia, Bungle and Ofiwi not going to open it. I love these proverbs, you see. Let me see. Michelle Bernard is saying that the PM didn't attend the UN to walk out on any heads of state. Yeah. Vivian Hanchard is saying it's the United, pun intended, Nations Conference, not Divided Nations Conference. By walking out, they tell me they are not serious people. If there is a problem with one member, they should all try to find a solution instead of walking out. Carlington Bartley Draffy grandmother. My grandmother Martha never wrong. She always told us that manners carry her through the world. All right. Kenrick Johnson says whoever stayed did so in their own personal interest. A lot of comments coming in on this one. I'll see what's happening on X. I want to see what's happening on X quick. It shows we elected the right people for the job, level-headed and diplomatic, says Ken. Or YouTubers coming at you. Derek Isaacs believes it was the right decision. Let me see. Cornell Mohan, does Jamaica have the balls to interfere in world politics? Gosh. Let's see. Right decision. Jamaica don't stand for anything anymore, says Who Am I? What was accomplished for walking out? Marsha Bunny is questioning. What was accomplished? Let me see. On or right decision. I see you, Derek Isaacs. Right decision. Walking out does not solve any problem, says Banna Bramford. Graphish is also questioning what would that achieve. Sandra Morris Roach no business in a full fight. Yeah. And Dwight Bonner is questioning what the Bible says about who fight against Israel. Linda Ming saying that she agrees with the Jamaica not walking out. Yeah, it was a good decision. Carlene Smith is questioning where is the Jamaica that took a stance against apartheid. Nadine Dockery falls say imna av batfe tek lick where dogs are get a road at night. So okay. Wow. Oh, wow, Nadine Dockery. All right. On Instagram, Black Boy said, mind your business is what that move has stated. At this point in our development, it is best to stay mutual. Taraji is saying there's an old saying in Jamaica, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. Sitting and listening is the best way to combat this particular enemy. Yeah? Simaj is questioning why walk out? It won't do anything beneficial for Jamaica. Please, it's not our fight. And Junior is saying we now mix up what's not our business. That's not our business. I'm seeing weak and coward coming from Hype and Alive. The move of not walking out. He's saying weak and coward. Yeah, if you run from a problem, it won't be solved, says Geddes Austin. Danny Mitch saying the walkout is more showboating than symbolic. How many of those same countries have or are ready to impose economic sanctions or any other action that will send a stronger message? Let me see. The PM made his stance on the Israel-Gaza issue in his speech, says Gravish. Paul Ellis says, so right. Good decision, Jamaica delegation. That's coming from Andrea Dunk. All right, getting the wrap-up signal. Thank you guys so much for participating in Public Opinion. Guys, I can't read all the comments, so I will read most or some off of Facebook, some off of YouTube. Just bear with me. Can't read all the comments, guys, but thank you so much for participating. The Business Report is up next.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:34.
Visit Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore, for all your prescription needs, gifts, personal care, household, and stationery items. The temperature by Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore is
29 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 30 out west in Montego Bay. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Robianne Williams. The Bank of Jamaica BOJ is anticipating 3 to 4% growth in the economy for the quarter ending September. The BOJ gave the estimate as part of its quarterly report on Monday. The BOJ says this continued expansion is consistent with a tight labor market and anecdotal information on elevated wage growth. It says growth in the economy is expected to be maintained over the next 2 years. It should be noted that the Planning Institute of Jamaica, PIOJ, has estimated growth for that period in the range of 2 to 3%. Further afield, Donald Trump has repeated his threat to impose a 100% tariff on all films not made in the U.S., claiming the American industry had been stolen by other countries. He said on Monday that California had been heavily affected and the levy would solve this long-time, never-ending problem. In May, the U.S. president said he would talk to Hollywood executives about his plan and to begin the process of imposing the levy because America's film industry was dying a very fast death. Trump's remarks come as he announced a new wave of tariffs last week, including a 100% levy on branded or drug imports, as well as 50% levies on kitchen and bathroom cabinets. And finally, in the currency markets at the close of trading today, it cost 161 Jamaican dollars and 26 cents to buy $1 US, 216 Jamaican dollars and 34 cents to buy £1 British pound, and 121 Jamaican dollars and 14 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the Business Report. I'm Robianne Williams. Good evening.
Since 1995, we've been your go-to source for everything related to billiards, amusement machines, and electronics. With locations at 1A Lindsay Terrace, Kingston 10, and the Village Plaza, Big Bridge, Savannah, Lamar, we offer top-quality pool table parts and accessories, cutting-edge gaming machines, and more. We also specialize in assembly, sales, and service of amusement machines. We provide unmatched customer service, expert solutions, and products tailored to your needs. Who are we? We are Eclipse Enterprise. Telephone 876-960-3891.
Freedom, speed, agility, intelligence, friendship. These are the hallmarks that define the dolphin, the master of the seas, and are the hallmarks that inspire Sterling Asset Management. For over 20 years, we have provided investment products that give our clients financial freedom and our service is fast, insightful, warm, and genuine. Sterling Asset Management, intelligent investing for the intelligent investor.
Multi-link, access every time, everywhere I go. Multi-link, 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use multi-link. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere, spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the Multi-Link logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multi-link, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my Multi-Link?
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hatley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
If it's in the public's interest, it's the nation's business during Nationwide at 5. The nation's business.
How certain are you that you're taking proper care of your pets? How often do you take them to the vet? Just as we need annual checkups with our doctors, most pets need regular checkups too. Owning and caring for a family pet doesn't have to be a difficult or burdensome experience. Nationwide 90 FM has an exciting feature called Pets World that will help you take better care of your pets. Join Nationwide 90 FM every Wednesday at 6:50 a.m. during the program This Morning as we take you into the do's and don'ts of caring for your pets. That's Pets World every Wednesday at 6:50 a.m. during the program This Morning on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
As a parent, you give your children a good start in life. You nurture, protect, and guide them. Parenting is a process that prepares your child for independence. As your child grows and develops, there are many things you can do to help your child. Stay tuned to The Big Show, Nationwide This Morning, for parenting tips. Fridays at 6:53 a.m. Only here will you learn everything you need to know about parenting. Tips to help parents navigate the incredibly challenging and rewarding journey of child rearing. Parenting tips on Nationwide 90 FM, the revolution in media.
It's Monday, get over your blues. Or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the E-Zone is here for you. With this thing, Honeybee
and Karim Boyatting
from 3 to 5 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM.
We've got your entertainment news.
Then we want to hear your views. Why you say?
Jump in the mix.
Or the hot seat.
Don't miss our brain busters.
Or the crazy giveaways.
Let's talk fashion.
Send us your outfit of the day. Ooh, cutesy. Very demure.
Are you looking for love?
Come on one of our blind dates. Send your request to ezone blinddates@gmail.com. That's ezoneblindates@gmail.com.
And stay tuned for your confessions.
These are my confessions. Share them with us at ezoneconfessions@yahoo.com. I mean, is this planet Earth?
Is it?
I don't know. Let me check. Either way, it's got a buzz.
And a bugger thing.
Ow! Ow!
Good evening. Thank you so much for staying with us here Nationwide at 5. I'm Cliff Hughes. It's now 18 minutes going up to 7. Well, the central bank, the Bank of Jamaica, is estimating economic growth for the September quarter this year in the range of 3 to 4%. The BOJ says the economy grew in the March 2025 quarter and is expected to have expanded in the June and September quarters of 2025. The central bank says growth in the economy is expected to be maintained over the next 2 years. The BOJ gave the estimate as part of its quarterly report on Monday. Recently, the Planning Institute of Jamaica, the PIOJ, estimated growth for that period in the range of 2 to 3%. The PIOJ's Director General, Dr. Wayne Henry, gave that update during a media briefing last month.
Short-term prospects for the overall economy are positive, largely associated with a continuation of the recovery momentum as all industries are projected to record growth. This performance will largely be supported by 1. The recovery from the low production base during the corresponding quarter of 2024 when most industries were adversely impacted by Hurricane Beryl. In particular, agriculture production continues to benefit from the post-hurricane support to the industry, which has resulted in record levels of production for several crop groups. And this is what we call the new growth phase. And this augurs well for the related WR trim industry.
That's Dr. Wayne Henry, the Director General of the PIOJ. Joining us now to discuss are economist Keenan Faulkner and development economist and chairman and CEO at NCS Enterprises, Dr. Christian Stokes. Gentlemen, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Yes.
Good evening.
Keenan, yes. Good evening to you.
Let me begin with you, Keenan. Your big takeaway from the statement this afternoon from the Bank of Jamaica.
Right. So I think that this growth just mostly reflects recovery, because when you're looking at the July to September quarter, it is in comparison to a year ago. And a year ago, during that July to September quarter, of course, because of Beryl, our production base would have been much lower, as Dr. Wayne Henry had said. So we were in sort of low growth to negative growth territory. So because we're growing from a much lower base, you're going to find that the growth experience in this quarter is higher than usual, and you would normally expect it to normalize over the next coming months. Additionally, because inflation was so low during the quarter, it was below the target range in both July and especially in August, then you find that when you net out what nominal GDP and subtract inflation from that, you're going to have a higher figure for real GDP growth. So those two factors, I think, would have accounted for the dominant portion of why growth was so high. And of course, there are other factors. I mean, the BOJ mentioned that domestic demand was not completely down despite inflation being low. So despite the disinflationary impact of those temporary factors that they noted when GCT, the dissipation of GCT removal as well as transport fare removal, then, domestic demand held up fairly well. And of course, election spending during that season would have also provided a little lift during that quarter.
Mm-hmm. How you see, Dr. Stokes?
Well, on cursory reading, my instinct and my experience as an economist is completely aligned with what Keenan just said. But I find there's a part of the BOJ report that I find curious. So just to back up a little bit.
Yes.
If the July, August, September quarter in 2024 was down 3.5%, which is what Statin says, and then you tell me that for 2025 it's up 3.5%, then that is not, that suggests to me a recovery to normality, and that going forward would return to a normal trend of growth or lack thereof. But what I found interesting is that in the BOJ report, they said that the continued expansion is consistent with a tight labor market, elevated wage growth in the economy, which suggests that there are actual driving forces of the economy, things happening that is actually growing. And then it doesn't say that, Keenan used the word dissipate, not that the recovery itself would dissipate and return to a normal level, but that they expect this growth to continue for another 2 years, 24 months, would suggest that even after we have recovered from the Beryl flooding and so on, that we would continue to grow. You know, and that has my attention, because my next question is, you know, over that period of time, what is driving that? You know, and you know, you can talk about tourism and agriculture. But once you recover, it has to continue growing at a nice clip. Now, the last thing I'll tell you, they say that, you know, if we're looking for 1 to 3%. So if we're at 1%, nothing has changed, right? If we're at 3%, no, you know, we're going in the right direction. So I'd be interested to see how that unfolds.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Stokes and Keenan Faulkner, inflation. Speak to me about why we're seeing what we're seeing with inflation. Yeah? Because they say here the temporary factors that cause low headline inflation in August 2025 were primarily related to improvements in supply conditions. For the uninitiated, what does that mean?
If Keenan allow me briefly, and then he could.
Yes.
So what they call the headline inflation is at 1.2%, which is that's really low. But what they call the core inflation is still at 4.2, which is low, historically low, and on the low end of the target range between 4 and 6. But what it seems that what is driving that, and if you think about it, and again going back to the Beryl incident, if you think that you had a flood and prices go up, right? And let me back up. The difference between the core and the headline is really energy prices and food prices. All right. Coming out of Beryl, food prices have come down materially. So that would give the impression inflation is generally low, but it's really just that it's driven by food prices. That is down. The GCT on electricity provides downward pressure as well. But core inflation still remains at 4.2, which is not as low as 1, clearly. And it's still on the low end, but seems to me to be more in line with the direction that we have been going in over the last many quarters.
Keenan?
Yes, I definitely agree with Dr. Stokes. It's because of the recovery in agriculture. Remember that when the overall economy recovered in the last quarter, that was driven mostly by agriculture, which I think grew about 9%. So because of that increased production relative to last year, when the prices of agricultural products were so high, this year they're much lower by comparison.
But then in section 7 of the statement this evening, they speak to the risks to the projected path of inflation over the next 8 quarters. And those risks are skewed to the upside, which means that inflation could be above projections. So we still have some way to go before we can say we have tamed inflation.
It's one of those things. It's like, you know, it's like your haircut. You know, you have to take care of it. You have to watch it and you have to manage it, right? So there are some you know, they speak about risk to the upside, and there are some clear and present dangers. You know, Trump could say something tomorrow that drives up the prices of our imports. And remember, we are, you know, primarily an import economy. That's a problem. Fuel prices have been tamed, but if there's conflict in the Middle East and oil prices go up, that's a shock. If we have an issue with people sending remittances to Jamaica and reducing the supply of funds, that could, you know, drive up, you know, exchange rates and then of course prices. So we live in a world where there are risks, but it's a matter of managing it and being aware of it. They're not going to go away. We're not going to do something and never have another risk, right? It's a matter of being aware of it and managing it as you go along and preparing yourself ahead of time is how I think about it.
Yeah, but at the same time, Keenan, they say that the recent developments suggest that headline inflation will continue to track below the lower limit of the target range, but should return to the target range by the March 2026 quarter.
Right. I think that is mostly because of the fallout from last year. So when we analyze inflation, we have to remember that it's point to point. So what happened 12 months ago compared to today. And last year, because the last half of the year going into the first quarter of this year, 2025, was so depressed, then inflation, you expect it to follow the same trend, where 1 year later it's going to still be a little bit subdued. But when you measure it again 12 months after that, it's going to normalize, which the Bank of Jamaica has indicated.
And Dr. Stokes, they say, listen, at the end of all of this assessment, economic indicators continue to point to a stable macroeconomic environment. Further, with the stable domestic interest rates, the decline in interest rates abroad has improved the differential between domestic and external rates, which should better support stability in the foreign exchange market. And then they say against all of this, they're holding interest rates in Jamaica at 5.75% on deposit-taking institutions. Rational? Agree?
Absolutely. Look, the continued pressure on interest rates in Jamaica, driven by economic factors, not by Trump bullying Powell, right? But by economic factors.
And just for our listeners, Powell is Jerome Powell.
Jerome Powell,
the chair of the U.S. Central Bank.
Yes, right.
Yes.
All right. So data driven, you decided that okay, interest rates must come down.
Mm-hmm.
What that means is that the assets in Jamaican dollars now, if you hold exchange rate steady, pay more than a US dollar asset, so that you can get 5 points. Let's say that just as a base, just use a base, or 5.75 on a Jamaican assets and 2.9 on a US asset, which is good for stabilizing the Jamaican economy, that there's not capital flight out of the country. All right, so you just really need to keep that in line. If US dollar assets now start to look more attractive than Jamaican dollar assets in terms of interest rates, then people are going to want to take the Jamaican dollars, buy US, and invest in US assets, which is not good for the country, right?
Yes.
So I think we're in a good place.
And Keenan, help us to understand now, there seems to be a slew of good economic news. It was last Thursday, that Standard & Poor's upgraded our rating to double B, or is it triple B? Double B. Yeah. Then the Jamaican bonds were trading better, higher than US bonds. Now this bit of news, is all of this sustainable, or we're just in a purple patch?
No, when it comes down to credit ratings, I can't say that we're in a purple patch. This is definitely a very, solid trajectory, in the sense that it has only gone up. So I don't expect that credit ratings will go down in the future, because when credit ratings go up, it's a reflection of your potential outweighing the risks. So risks are still present, and they have mentioned risks to grow through education, human capital development. However, that means that you will continue to upgrade as long as the potential for the economy to get better will outweigh those risks. When your risks outweigh the potential, then you're looking at a downgrade. But it is good in the sense that despite Jamaica not being an investment grade, currently, because our fundamentals are in the right place, it means that we have access to cheaper cost of credit in some instances than some countries which are investment grade. Because in the international markets, we're looking at differences in basis points of, say, a couple tens or hundreds of basis points. 100 basis points is 1%. Now, in the capital markets, the rates are dependent on essentially risk perception. So the higher the credit rating is, it means there's a perception of lower risk that investors will naturally want to take advantage of. And as long as the fundamentals continue to stay and remain what they are, then you're only going to look at further upgrades in the future.
Christian?
That is all true. Let me point something else out. We just went through an election campaign, which we seem to have come through unscathed, despite what happened in the last week or so, unscathed by fiscal irresponsibility. It seems like the fiscal rules have retained. It seems like there is more cachet in claiming paternity to fiscal stability than to saying out the window it's fiscal stability, let's just spend money. This is good for the country, right? The challenge that we have, which I've been alluding to all day, touching on it exactly, is fiscal stability is good. We want to hold on to it. One of the last things Minister Clark told Dr. Clark said before he left was that maintaining stability is not a guarantee. You have to continue to work on it. That was his caveat on his way out the door, right? And what I've seen so far, we have remained committed to that. The challenge is, how do we drive real growth? How do we drive real growth, right? And the JLP spoke about that in the campaign, and the PNP went a little further to talk about delivering the benefits of the fiscal discipline and the associated austerity to improve the lives of Jamaicans. And that's the direction that we must go in. Hold the ship steady, but the goal must now be growth that the ordinary, I don't know what that means, I'm going to say, the ordinary Jamaican feels, right?
Yeah. Thank you very much, Christian Stokes, Dr. Christian Stokes, development economist and chair and CEO at NCS Enterprises, and economist Keenan Faulkner. Yes? By the way, I heard this today out of the White House, gentlemen. The present occupant, saying that he's going to slap 100% tariff on movies that are not made in America. Well, we don't make movies here in Jamaica, so that's not material to us. But isn't this part of the continuing uncertainty that is generated in capitals across the world? We don't know what this man is going to say or do tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Keenan, you want to say that on half of you?
Yeah, I mean, these risks, they're so unpredictable and they're extant. They'll be ever present as long as the current occupant in the White House remains for as long as he does. And there's just no way to prepare for them. So that's why I suspect, institutions like the Bank of Jamaica frequently point this out, because there's just really no way of trying to prepare for it. So you're in a constant state of being very skittish and sort of trying to ensure that you are always on your toes.
But at the same time, this came on a day that he seems to have made significant progress in ending the war in Gaza and stabilizing the city potentially until we have a deal. We can't say it's a deal, but on a day that he seemed to have made a lot of progress, but that's Trump. It's a wild ride.
So Cliff, on the economic front, there's a big debate among economists of the impact of tariffs, especially if you don't have reciprocal or people, lashing out and raising tariffs themselves. Okay, what people are afraid to do is it's not like what happened in the 1930s where everybody else raised tariffs. People are afraid to do that because Trump will ratchet up, right? So it's not so much just the fact of the tariff; it's the uncertainty.
Yes.
And what American business does when it is uncertain is nothing. Right? They just sit down, and when it's settled down, we'll wait and see. That's my first point. Second point is, as with many things coming from those quarters, it seems to me unimplementable, simply because of how movies are made. It's not in a place. A man in his basement, another man in France, and he send him the clip and he send it back. And so I don't know what it means to see a movie made somewhere, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yes.
Even if filming is done somewhere, that is just one small part Although it's what we see. But if you're familiar with the process, a ton of work happens outside of that across the globe.
Yes.
All right. That's the second thing. And the third thing with on the Gaza situation, we remain hopeful. Bibi's already getting pushed back in Israel.
Yes.
But my concern is, and the great shame to our people looking back on us, Cliff, is that we did not do more to stop the killing of children, regardless of the politics of the situation. And I suspect that in 2 or 3 generations, we will be harshly judged by just treating it as if there's a negotiation. Let's see what happened when another 100 people have been killed, and that is my concern.
Dr. Stokes, let me tell you something. You could not have said it better. Yeah, that to me is going to be the great stain of our generation.
Yes.
That we stood by and remained muted, without purposeful action to stop the genocide that Netanyahu and the Israelis are executing on the people of Gaza. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Good.
Take care.
Good. Time for the break.
Every time you are link with a condom, coulda Ozzy, coulda wife, coulda be a random. Do it for your best life.
The time by the Ministry of Health and Wellness is.
It's 4 minutes after 7.
The Watchman, exploring issues shaping our society, government, and business. Provocative, unconventional. Dr. Henley Morgan is The Watchman.
Good evening. Obia debate. I am a self-avowed Pan-Africanist and unrepentant promoter of retention of vestiges of African folklore and oral traditions, language, craftsmanship, music, spiritual rituals, and aesthetics in Jamaican culture. Brought to the Caribbean by our ancestors who suffered the horrors of slavery, these practices played a role in the quote-unquote smaddification of a dispossessed people stripped of human dignity and contributed in no small measure to the collapse of the evil slave system. Although diminished, today they continue to influence the world's standing of Jamaicans as a proud people with a distinctive culture. One should not be ignorant of the concerted effort made over centuries and even now by the slave traders and those made in their image to denigrate and even obliterate ancestral influence on Jamaican culture. Professor Clinton Hutton, in the following quote, captures the reality and severity of the threat, past and present. We are still stifled by the Eurocentric epitome, which tells us that ontologically we are nothing unless we are able to ape European ways of existence. End quote. Having established where I stand on retention of African antecedents within the larger culture, I must add that not every tradition, practice, or ritual that survived the transatlantic journey and the aftermath of slavery is relevant, justified, or healthy in the present dispensation. Evangelicals, as a distinct group within Christianity, have had an uneasy and sometimes confrontational existence alongside revivalism Maoism, secret societies, of which Freemasons or the Lodge is the most dominant, and Obeah. There is a lot that have been written about Obeah because of its reputation of being quote-unquote black science. In a scholarly paper titled A New Evangelization, Intersections Between Maoism, Revivalism, and Roman Catholicism, Dean of Studies, St. Michael's College, Peter Espute wrote, I quote, "The practice of Obeah is the belief that one can use certain spirits or supernatural agents to work harm on the living." End quote. This perception of the Obeah man as someone who could Obeah a person to death or provide protection from spells cast with similarly wicked intentions coincide with my childhood recollection growing up in a remote, deeply superstitious rural village. Obeah was seen as something to be not only feared, but shunned, and that ran contrary to Christian dogma. Leviticus chapter 19, verse 31, Deuteronomy chapter 18, verses 10 to 12. The Africana spiritualist non-profit group going by the name Onochi Foundation has mounted a campaign seeking the repeal of Jamaica's 1898 Obeah Act, which makes the practice a punishable offense. This brought a swift and vociferous response, which saw scores of evangelical Christians led by Bishops Alvin Bailey and Rowan Edwards taking to the streets of Spanish Town, St. Catherine, on Wednesday, September 24, 2025. The ominous motive surrounding the passing of the 1898 Obeah Act notwithstanding, my advice to those wanting decriminalization of Obeah is to let sleeping dogs lie. Think on these things.
Produced by Agency for Inner City Renewal, AIR, and recorded in the Jamming Studio Trenchtown, a breath of fresh air bringing change to the inner city.
Jamaica's poverty rate has dropped from 16.7% to 8.2%. As the government's economic program begins to pay off, our country is heading towards sustained growth. We are building Jamaica. The time by the office of the Prime Minister is...
It's 10 minutes after 7.
Looking for superior quality transportation from an international award-winning provider? Well, look no further. Choose Island Car Rentals, Jamaica's leading car rental company, setting the standard for road transportation in Jamaica. For over 50 years, Island Car Rentals has been your trusted partner for reliable, top-quality vehicles. But we're more than just a car rental company. Need an airport transfer at any hour? Heading out of town and want to travel in style with a private chauffeur? Need a truck to rent for business or personal use? Or maybe you need a customized shuttle or tour for a large or a small group? Whatever your transportation need, Island Car Rentals has you covered. Call us today at 876-926-8012 or 876-929-5875 or visit www.islandcarrentals.com to book your next trip. Because Island people take better care of you.
Freedom, speed, agility, intelligence, friendship. These are the hallmarks that define the dolphin, the master of the seas, and are the hallmarks that inspire Sterling Asset Management. For over 20 years, we have provided investment products that give our clients financial freedom, and our service is fast, insightful, warm, and genuine. Sterling Asset Management, intelligent investing for the intelligent investor.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. We're turning our attention now to Washington, D.C. because there's some news coming out of the United States. The U.S. President Donald Trump and the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu say they've agreed to a plan to end the war in Gaza. But it's unclear whether Hamas will accept the terms. Now, the agreement follows a meeting between the two leaders today at the White House.
Trump laid out a 20-point plan for ending the Israeli-Hamas war and establishing a post-war governance system in the war-battered Palestinian territory. Trump's plan will establish a temporary governing board that he would lead.
It also calls for all remaining hostages to be released within 72 hours of Israel accepting the plan. The plan does not require people to leave Gaza, and it calls for the war to end immediately if both sides accept it. Trump said Israel would have the full backing of the U.S. to take steps to defeat Hamas if it doesn't accept the proposed peace deal.
We have more on this report from Sky News.
This was a White House picture provisionally captioned peace.
President Trump, are you confident, sir, there'll be peace in Gaza anytime soon?
Very confident, said the president to a media pack that had seen the trails of a turning point on Gaza.
So this is a big day, a beautiful day, potentially one of the great days ever in civilization.
Donald Trump didn't undersell it. Behind the marketing was a 20-point plan for peace in Gaza. A transitional government would involve former UK Prime Minister Tony Blair on a board of peace.
One of the people that wants to be on the board is the UK former Prime Minister Tony Blair, good man, very good man, and some others.
In a statement, Tony Blair said, President Trump has put down a bold and intelligent plan, which, if agreed, can end the war, bring immediate relief to Gaza, the chance of a brighter and better future for its people, whilst ensuring Israel's absolute and enduring security and the release of all hostages. Donald Trump called it a historic day, and it had that look at the White House. But a historic peace plan doesn't yet have the support, critically, of Hamas. It has said it will review Trump's plan in good faith. He's given it an ultimatum.
If Hamas rejects the deal, which is always possible, they're the only one left. Everyone else has accepted it. But I have a feeling that we're going to have a positive answer. But if not, as you know, BB, you'd have our full backing to do what you would have to do.
Israel's Prime Minister spoke of support, but in the same sentence spoke of his country's war aims.
I support your plan to end the war in Gaza, which achieves our war aims. It will bring back to Israel all our hostages, dismantle Hamas's military capabilities, end its political rule, and ensure that Gaza never again poses a threat to Israel.
Why qualify his support? It was a question that wasn't asked, because at this news conference, neither man entertained a Q&A. This might be progress towards peace, but it's not peace in itself, not yet at least. The announcement of a deal would have been huge, a landmark achievement for the self-styled peacemaker president. Peace for the sake of peace itself, but also for stature, legacy, not to mention business opportunities in a more settled Middle East. There was a sideshow in the White House when Benjamin Netanyahu was put on the phone to the Qatari Prime Minister to express regret for bombing Hamas in Qatar this month. In this place, Donald Trump is all-powerful. Whether his power can broker peace in Gaza remains subject to negotiation. James Matthews, Sky News, in Washington.
That report there from Sky News. Obviously, if this is achieved, it will be historic.
And a big if.
Absolutely. But we shouldn't fool ourselves that Donald Trump is not also playing to history and to the Nobel Peace Prize. He wants it.
He craves it.
Covets it. He wants it. Mm-hmm. And if he pulls this off, I think he'd be a candidate. He'd certainly be a candidate.
Certainly a candidate. But before we go there, for me, it is about thousands of women and children who have been slaughtered in an open prison called Gaza since October last year, when Hamas, terrorized the Israeli citizens and killed more than 1,000 of them. Yeah? For those children tonight and women who are at the mercy of the Israeli fighter jets and planes, I hope Hamas recognize that this is possibly the best chance it has to spare the Palestinians who are being held, as in an open prison. I really do hope tomorrow morning when we get up, we hear that they have accepted. This is, on the paper, on the face of it, a good deal. 500 Palestinian prisoners, 250 Palestinian prisoners to be released, serving life sentences in Israeli prisons. The return of the hostages, there is something here for both sides. A governance structure that will be overseen by people of international repute, including from the Arab world. Big compromise. Also, the talk that Trump peddled earlier and Netanyahu jumped on to cleanse, to remove Gazans from the territory, that is now dead. So I think this offers an opportunity for one of the monstrosities of our times to come to an end. Where every day you wake up to news that 35, 40, 80 people, women and children, are being slaughtered. Enough is enough.
I think you're right. A monstrosity of our time, and I worry genuinely that history will condemn all of us who have lived through this period, and the world has largely remained silent.
Yes.
But I don't want us to miss the point, Cliff, because I think sometimes we oversimplify the complexity of these issues. And I see, for example, online, the foreign minister is being condemned. People wanted to see Jamaica join that protest action and walk out of the General Assembly Hall when Bibi Netanyahu addressed the UN General Assembly. I don't share that view. She came here on Friday, was it, or Thursday, and she explained why Jamaica did not join the protest. And she said, essentially, engagement is a part of diplomacy, and Jamaica has believed that, we should stay at the table. And I think that's important, and I don't want people to lose sight of the fact, and you touched on it in your discussion with Dr. Stokes and Keenan. We're dealing with a man in the White House, considering Jamaica's proximity to the United States, where vengeance and retribution would be too easy for him to exact. And it might be easy to say it's the cowardly position, it's cowardice, right? Not to stand up to him. But I say, to what end? To what end? And you would know better than I do that in the 1970s, we walked that road. We did not win that fight. And we cannot win that fight. I do not know to what end people want to see Jamaica posture in this way. When at the table, we have a voice. I thought the Prime Minister was clear without the fluff and the bluster and the chest beating, that we do consider as a country what is happening in Gaza and to the Palestinian people an absolute horror. He said it. The horror of the humanitarian crisis, I think were the words he used. More than that is risky. And I don't believe, Cliff, I honestly don't believe that now is the time for risky foreign policy.
Why not?
Because of the harms. You're dealing with an unstable man who has proven himself. He will retaliate. And he just needs to say something, he needs to say something. And Jamaica's economic gains, Jamaica's economy, Jamaica's trading relationships are put at serious risk.
So in other words,
I'm not trying to simplify it by saying, we should just capitulate. But the facts before us, Cliff, we cannot afford that kind of risky strategy. And don't tell me about Mia Mottley in Barbados. Don't tell me about Mia Mottley has her own people to lead. She has her own country to govern. I don't think Jamaica should play that game.
I can understand that thinking. Yes, I heard Senator Johnson Smith last Friday. It was
Friday or Thursday. Yeah.
Diplomacy is all about engagement.
Yes.
Yeah, and the walking out, yes, was performative. It is to make a statement, but to what end? Yeah, so I can accept that.
Yes.
But has Jamaica recognized Palestine as a state?
Yes. That's
like
my
the French and the...
Yes, I recall that statement. That might have been early this year or last year. Let me just double check. But my recollection is yes.
What I recall very clearly, we have said we are committed to a two-state solution.
Yes.
Yeah, we are committed to a two-state solution. But in the latest developments, where you are being identified...
Yes, we recognize Palestine as a state in April of 2024.
Good. So we are doing our part. We are doing our bit. Where Trump is concerned, you're correct. He is a vengeful man. Yeah? That's the language he speaks. Yeah? He's very revengeful. And I suppose we need to wait him out. He's not going to...
I think that's what pragmatism calls for. Yes.
Beyond what? 3 more years?
3 more years. It's going to be a long 3 years.
Or possibly less than 3 years.
We'll see.
The midterms are coming up. And he's already underwater. He's going to be politically neutralized. Yeah? So pragmatism would suggest yes. But I am concerned nonetheless that we need to put it on record. Yeah? That we were on the right side of history where this particular moment is concerned.
Yeah.
We cannot allow Trump and others, to drive fear into us to the point where we remain muted.
And I agree with that, but I don't think the Prime Minister was muted. I think he was clear. What happened on October 7, horrible. The response, my interpretation of what he said has not been proportional. And it's a horrific humanitarian crisis. And on the same day that Bibi Netanyahu stood there and said, essentially, there is no crisis.
Oh, God.
So I think we're doing our part without the performance.
Yes.
Without the performance.
As we speak, in Israel this morning, yes, Bibi is coming under pressure, Yes. One of his far-right ministers, the finance minister, said what he did today in apologizing to the Qatari Prime Minister for bombing Qatar with the hope of killing the Palestinian negotiators, that it was a disgrace. He's as much a hostage as the people of Gaza.
Right, he is a hostage to the far right in Israel. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I really hope that tomorrow morning we'll hear that we have a deal.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. It must come to an end. It must come to an end.
Yeah. All right. 26 minutes after 7. We're going to take your calls after. Are you really concerned about this as a citizen of this global village? Or when you hear people like me and Ricardo talk about it, suck on a teeth, like some of you on YouTube, not understanding that at the end of the day we live in a global village. Yeah? Remember our history. Yeah? Remember our history. When they came for the Jews, we remained silent until they came for your mother.
There was
and
no
one
to speak for
you.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Which is why it's so important that the international order be rules-based. because small states like Jamaica, we require those rules for our continued survival.
Absolutely. After the break, your calls. You know the numbers, 876-630-937124 or 618-8255.
Escape to Idle Isle in a grill where sand and serenity meet. Visit idleawhile.com or call 876-957-3302. Idle Isle and stay a while.
Home is closer than you think when you save towards your dream home with the Homeowners Savings Plan, or HOSP, from CIBC Caribbean. With HOSP, you unlock preferential interest rates to earn more interest on your savings and pay less with a discounted mortgage rate. You can even borrow up to an additional US $5,000 or its equivalent to help you with your closing costs. Get home faster when you save the HOSP way with CIBC.
Are you ready to turn your sales and marketing skills into high earnings? Nationwide 90FM is searching for business development executives to build lasting client relationships. If you have experience across all stages of the sales cycle and possess strong communication, negotiation, and time management skills with a proven sales track record, this opportunity is perfect for you. Join our team and work with the top corporate brands, media agencies, and of course, our on-air personalities. Enjoy networking opportunities, professional growth, and competitive commissions. Ready to take the next step? Send your resume to hr@nationwidenewsnetwork.com today.
Back with you on Nationwide at 5. I'm Ricardo Brooks. He's Cliff Hughes, and we're taking your calls. Faithful, you're up first.
Good evening, Mr. Brooks. Good evening, Cliff.
Good evening, Faithful.
Yeah, welcome back.
Thank you.
Right. I pray for the peace of Jerusalem, the Palestinians, all people that dwell there. But I think we are missing where the biggest problem pertaining to Palestinian and Israeli and all of Middle East is concerned. And it's a two-state solution. Everybody wants peace, but I think where the line in the room, or whatever you want to call it, is where they call the identity of a person and what made them become identity. Is East Jerusalem, where everybody want that is a real estate. I think that one of the biggest sticking part of all the war. Where the Alaska Mars and the Temple Mount and who's supposed to be in charge of that, I think that is going to be where the biggest problem is. If history is right and where history is pointing, until that part of Jerusalem is solved, I don't think there will be any peace. Your two guests this afternoon, Mr. Hughes. Mr. Morgan, can I proceed?
Yes, go ahead. Really.
Okay, Mr. Morgan, and I was agreeing with you guys. I think we're running a facade when we pretend at this level. I say we are so neutral, and everybody don't have the political leaning, even in the civil servant. But I ask the question: should that not also apply to the media also?
Should what apply?
Where you are saying that in the civil servant they should stay the case, whatever political leaning they have.
I don't think that's what we said. We said that, well, certainly what I understood Cliff to be saying, and I agreed with him, was that there should perhaps be certain posts in the government which are exclusively in the gift of the administration of the day.
And that's 100%. I was advocate for the American way of doing business, because most time we pretend as if to say, when a government is elected, if he doesn't, he should allow to have his people in place so that when he fails, he could find where he failed. But if a government is elected with a PMP or JLP and he have endurance in his way to perform his duty, to perform the duty, then we're gonna claim bias on one side or either side. So I always advocate for the American way of doing business.
Cliff and I disagree on the point of whether media houses should declare political preference in campaigns, in editorial positions. I say yes. Cliff says no.
I say yes too.
He has good reason, but I think I prefer that. But yeah,
I think what happened, you know. I think we say we don't declare, but I think the Jamaican people are far more smarter than what we claim, you know. I think they see it right through us, and we might not say it, we might not verbalize it, but by our action, they already know who we are, and they claim who we are. For example, I was watching an interview with somebody, and when the mayor of Spanish Town thumbed the lady in her face and mashed up her glasses, she went doctor.
Allegedly,
and she went doctor, and all of a sudden, I hear a person doing an interview and was asking the police, and she's talking about the process, and not recognizing the fact that when Jadra do particularly similar things, she was not asking the process. They tried to water and try to play around anything, and to me it was insipid.
Hear you, faithful. Thanks for the call, and just to remind you, George Wright was not charged with a crime. Who's next? Papa Nana.
Good evening, sir.
How are you?
I hope my favorite rested, you know, because I think I was going to give him a chance and get a few days. But
no, man, I'm very well rested. Thank you, Papa Nana.
Yes. All right, listen, let me...
So he's your favorite?
No. I said, how is the one coming?
He's your favorite?
No.
I'm very well rested, Papa Nana. Thank you for your kind thoughts.
I know you busy that about me, but you can't accept it to use.
Oh?
Yes, but both of you then.
It's all right, Papa Nana. You said it.
I can't do it.
Oh, my God.
Listen, I want to help me solve a little problem here.
What's that?
Who stopped the people from killing the Jews when they was killing the Jews?
What do you mean? When? At what point in history?
Remember, you know, Hitler was killing the Jews. When did they stop killing them? It was the vice of the rural people, them talk about it and protest against it.
The Allies, they call them the Allies. A group of nations, the Western powers, and I believe Russia was a part of it as well.
Yes. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
You people are history. But both of you people, there is good in the worst about things. Because look at Trump. I think the whole world has had that man as one of the... But Netanyahu beat him.
No.
Yes. Netanyahu...
Yeah, you know, to be fair to Donald Trump, yes, he has been very hostile towards war. To be fair to him. He has not endorsed war. He's always talking about America minding its business, getting out of people's business. Yeah, he has been consistent on that front.
Yes, all right. And one other quick point. Mr. Hughes and you, who, Sheman?
Ricardo.
Ricardo.
So hold on there. How he's your favorite? I don't even know who we are talking to.
But that's all right, Papa Nana.
That may I say.
Yeah, go off, Papa Nana, watch it.
No, yeah, me I play the role of the me now. To them, I say some man, I don't remember tomorrow.
What the next thing? What is the final point?
So I ask both of you people. Tell me what did Mr. Warmington did the other day and what is going to happen tomorrow. Tell me what really happened. What have you people know about his behavior?
You mean at the swearing in?
Yes.
So he did not shake the hand of the speaker. He did not shake the hand of the prime minister. And he walked out of the chamber.
Cause what?
And he didn't walk with the government side down Duke Street.
Yes. Because what? We can only assume.
He was. The word is that he was pissed with the prime minister, and
you shouldn't repeat unsubstantiated claims, Cliff Hughes.
Oh, really?
Yes, you shouldn't.
I don't know about unsubstantiated.
You call Mr. Warmington?
Let me tell you what I understand. He was pissed. He is pissed. Yes, that he was not reappointed to the government. And as I understand it, that he was not dealt with, spoken to in a respectful way, having won his seat with the largest number of votes by any Labour Party candidate in the election. That's my understanding.
Oh, so that's what turned him off.
Yes.
Papa Nana?
Yes.
That is Cliff's understanding.
Yes.
Okay.
So listen to me now. You think it is possible to get a word with him?
You think we should try?
Yeah, I think you should try. You should try.
Okay.
And one last thing, because I know time is short. I think Mr. Andrew Holness is one of the smartest person that God has ever blew a breath in. One of. Because listen to me. I heard Mr. Hughes was banting him one time about his super ministry. Mr. Hughes, can you imagine if Andrew Michael Holness did not set up a super ministry to help him out with what he had received? Remember, the PNP in every ministry have their people at the four corner there, People can tell you how many times the toilet flush for the day. If he did not set up that super ministry where he can get some people who can a matter of fact, obey what he said, and get them on his side, what do you think would happen to the JLP? Think about it. Goodbye.
Okay. Bobby, good evening.
Yes, good evening, Ricardo. Good evening, Sir Cliff.
Good evening, Bobby.
And welcome back, sir.
Thank you.
How was your stay in China?
Very well, learned a lot.
Okay, good. I heard you a short while ago, but this is not what I want to talk to you about. I am just advising you on something. It is best if you call Everall Warmington and get some words from him, because might be you are saying this, and when you talk to him, you hear that.
Oh.
Right, so it is best if you call him.
You sure you want me to do that?
Huh?
You sure you want me to do that?
Because I know nationwide.
No, this is not about nationwide now. I'm saying you sure you want us to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Here's my advice. Here's been my advice, Bobby.
Call him, man.
Bobby, here's been my advice to people. I think people should be slow to try to get between Andrew Holness and Everall Warmington.
Exactly.
I recall the last time he was removed from the cabinet and all kinds of whispers were swirling around as to what he would or wouldn't do. And I recall a reporter called him and put the question to him. He was not very kind in the response. And months later he was on the campaign trail, campaigning like hell.
Exactly.
To see Andrew Holness re-elected. So I would tell people to be slow.
Right, exactly, Ricardo.
Yes.
I really do agree with you, Ricardo. What I want to say is I would like the war, between Israel and Gaza to stop, and I would like those Palestinians people to be released. And I endorse the move that the government had made not to walk out of the talk, because trust me, we need peace. Right, and to be honest, this war in that country there, a very holy land that, our Lord Jesus Christ had walked and so on. That country should, be a peaceful country and show the rest of the world peace and so on. And one final thing I would like to say, you see, and I want to show this to you, Cliff and Ricardo. You notice the international rating agencies are always giving us good ratings, especially since the Honorable Dr. Andrew Michael Holness become Prime Minister. That simply means that the rating agency are seeing something that is doing good for Jamaica. And they want other countries, struggling countries, to take a leaf out of Jamaica's book. So this is my take on the ratings that they give us, and I know Prime Minister Andrew Holness will do much more for the economy in this third term. Okay, then, and thank you.
Okay, Bobby. Good.
Errol, good evening. Errol? Turn off the radio, Errol.
My listening radio.
630-937-24618-8255. Errol?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening. How are you, sir?
Doing all right. How are you?
How are you both?
Doing good.
Yes. I have a concern here that I want to share with you guys. Don't you think this buying of voting can pose or has posed a serious threat to our democracy?
Tell me, let me ask you, do you know the extent to which that is taking place? Do you have anything to indicate the extent to which the buying of votes is happening in Jamaica?
No, not specifically.
So then how are we going to answer your question if we don't know the extent to which it is taking place?
Let us know the allegations that we have heard, then let us put it that way.
Yeah, but allegations are allegations. We don't know. The difficulty I've had over several, I've covered 9, 10 general elections now. Yeah? And in every one of them, you hear that allegation. And we don't have anything substantive to go on to say, well, it changed 2 constituencies or influenced the vote among 100 people. We just don't know.
Let us say, let us assume that it is true that we have a serious amount of vote by. Don't you think that would be detrimental to our democracy?
Of course. Well, it's a big assumption you're making. Yes.
Yeah, well, if it is really true, you see, my recommendation would be that the government put legislation in place to make it an extremely serious offense. And when I say make it to be a serious offense, I mean like, for example, the penalty should be like 100 million Jamaican dollars fine. And if you can't find the money to pay the fine, you have life imprisonment without the possibility.
Tell me something, Errol. How from what you've heard, how does this vote buying thing work? Huh?
You're not hearing me?
Yeah, I'm saying, from what you've heard, how does this work? Somebody pays you to do what? To go into the booth or do something, or what? How does that work? How it work?
Well, all right. It should work both ways. If you are caught selling your vote, or if let us say a politician is caught trying to buy your vote.
So I'm trying to understand the buy, because if I take the money and I go in the booth, how you know what I did in there?
Well, I am told that fool people say, if you take the money, you know, me can't know if you vote for me or you never vote for me.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But people are so naive that they believe that is possible.
Oh, I see.
But I want to go further. Yeah? You begin on the basis that there is vote buying taking place, and then you say we should legislate it to a point where the punishment is very, very harsh.
Yes, sir.
How are you going to prove that in a court of law? If the buyer,
get value for money,
and tells you, listen, it's my vote. He didn't buy my vote. He encouraged me to vote for him.
Yeah.
How you prove that in a court of law?
I don't know if I said if you are caught and it can be proved in a court of law.
But how would you prove that?
And how would you exact the punishment if you can't prove it?
How would you prove that?
Yeah, no, it would be very difficult to exact the punishment if you can't prove.
But I think your greater point is that people shouldn't accept money to vote or to not vote. I think it's your greater point.
Yes, because you see, if that can be done, as we have heard so many allegations, you see, it could result in depriving one party of the election You understand what I'm saying? People should find out to vote their conscience.
All right, Errol. Thanks for the call. Carl.
Evening, Ricardo. Evening, Marcius.
Good evening, Mas Carl. How you do? Long time.
Yeah. Errol for Central Manchester. Don't know what you say, man. You must say, one more that money showing up as an equal manager, Errol. Yeah, worry about, man. And everybody full now, Errol. People take their money and still go to do what everybody have to do.
Take the money and vote them out.
And vote them out. Anyhow, Mr. Hughes, my only call tonight, defending from the economy is doing very well. And I get some good ratings. My biggest concern is Norman Scott. I have a big concern with Norman Scott. The PNP have returned Norman Scott Friday as a vice president, a man which was charged for assaulting a lady, slapper. It assumed. And the problem with me having Mr. Hughes, when a video was rolled with Mr. Wright from Westmoreland, it was a big thing with all of the PNP human rights them, all of them. None of them never, from the church them come right down, none of them never miss it. And I noticed that Mr. Scott been charged now, and all of them seems like they're up 89 old Hope Road. I wonder what happened September 3rd. Nobody can hear nothing from them. What is happening in Jamaica?
Hypocrisy.
So, all right, God forbid, whether one of these ministers, one of these state ministers, any one of them, anything should happen within the 5 year, God forbid. Which one of those corrupted, which one of those PNP human rights could have come out now and open them out?
And some of them will be barefaced enough to do that.
Okay. We will be waiting on, And the next thing I want to ask you, when human rights lady with upon the program after you come off from on time, we would like to, when she come on Monday daytime, there's a call-in part where you can ask her a few questions.
No, they don't have a call-in segment. You're talking about Michael Jackson of JFJ.
Michael Jackson. Well, Michael Jackson most likely have been listening. I want to ask you, you say certain things is not into your rights. You're so to deal with concerning the police. But when time the Integrity Commission did send out the false documents concerning the Prime Minister, you jump over there and you say he must go clear his name. What about Norman Scott now, Miss Jackson?
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Miss Jackson,
I've said it repeatedly. It's not just JFJ. JAMP also, it was a joint statement. NIA, JFJ, JAMP, and another group that I can't recall now. Yeah, and I've said it, Carl, and I agree with you. The inconsistency is very, very concerning. Very concerning.
With these people.
I agree with you because, as I said, and I maintain, George Wright should have said whether he was the one on the video. He should have come forward and either confirmed or denied it. That aside, though, the fact is these groups called on him to step aside without.
Step aside.
Well, you and I have had that conversation, but we're not going back down there. They called on him to step aside without a charge.
Thank you. And this man is charged now.
If he should have stepped aside on supposition and speculation, then I can't see how that's to a greater level than a criminal charge. I cannot see that.
And there's no such call for Scott to step aside.
None, not one, not a single
and
one.
And therein lies the hypocrisy.
Yeah, I've checked.
And inconsistency. Yes.
Miss Duncan left from all the way in Kingston and went all the way in Westmoreland to tell the people not to vote back for George Wright.
And you see that for what it is. It was raw, naked politics. Yes.
But no.
And JFJ, NIA, JAMP, not a word on Mr. Scott.
And Mr. Scott.
Hypocrisy
Mr.
again.
Scott, Mr. Hughes, think about it, Mr. Hughes. What about Norman Scott? Norman Scott, 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 Norman Scott Norman Scott been charged. That is the problem we have tonight from last week. This is not the first I'm calling about it. Norman Scott been charged. He have to go before a judge.
Yeah. I think the principle, if indeed they were acting out of principle at the time, then I can't see how it's not applied here.
And see the man will tell you say he might go off a principle. Retain Norman Scott as a vice president. Friday gone. It's a slap in the Jamaica people face. Because he might tell you say he must stand for principle. But when he get in first test there as an opposition, and indeed that's what he did government.
Yeah, that principle should also extend to clearing your name and then returning to your post as vice president. We have to be consistent. Otherwise, we'll make a mockery of this whole civil society business. I agree with you, Carl.
All right. Now give her a personal call. Still have to find Norman Scott. And
no hold your breath. No hold your breath.
Here. Anjo, Carly Anjo, but the JLP is still in a government. Dayton Campbell. Carly, September 3rd.
Oh, Lord.
Alric.
Good evening, Cliff. Good evening, Ricardo.
How are you, my friend?
Good evening.
Me not bad. Mr. You just come back Friday, judge back with Mr. But as Nora said, you just come back and talk Jamaican, so not even little twang like Mr. Do that's a little Chinese man.
Ni hao?
That's
Ni hao?
I don't know what it means, but
good morning.
You just come back with little twang.
Good morning.
All right. Carl left out. I had mentioned that same thing to Ricardo, but Carl left out Donna Scott Matley. She's always making noise about something like that, and she's as quiet now as and what happened to the church people them. All of us had them two there to the list. Donna Scott Matley and the church people them. Mr. Hughes, this is one of the biggest hypocritical, I don't know. So Carl and Donna Scott Matley and the church has been so silent that when these things happen that you wonder if they're in Jamaica when one side do it and at the other side do it, everybody take the plane and fly back in. What is going to happen down in the Middle East, Mr. Hughes and Ricardo?
If I knew, I would be a very wealthy man.
Where is Netanyahu heading? What is going to... Why Mr. Hughes, it look bad enough?
Very bad, Carl. Very bad. And the world has stood largely silent while he has slaughtered up to yesterday 66,000 people in Gaza. 66,000.
You think we have a World War III, sir? You guys think World War III is imminent?
I don't think it will be over Gaza or the Middle East if there's a World War III. I don't think so. I think more likely going to have a greater potential flashpoint in the Ukraine war. That to me is where I think we are getting very, very close. Yeah, one accident. The Russians are obviously testing the will of NATO with the incursions in the airspace of countries like Estonia, yes, Poland. Denmark, Finland, Poland. Yeah, I think that's where the greater danger, is.
I hear one of my friends saying Saturday that he's worried that, and I think Mr. Hughes, the guys, it and nail, that's what he's also saying. He's worried that's where it's going to come from. Anyway, guys.
I think so.
Have a good night.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Putin continues to stare down NATO.
Yeah.
And he's daring them to blink. Daring them to blink.
Yeah.
So.
And, well, it's important that we at least get this Gaza one at an end. Yeah. And if Mr. Trump can summon the consistency, to be logical and clear with Putin, he may just do us a favor. Putin has got... Putin, you see, he respects nothing but force, you know. Yeah?
Yeah.
The man, the diplomacy. Yeah? America, Trump, NATO will have to demonstrate to him that, listen,
we mean business.
We mean business. And you cross this, we're going to deal with you. Yeah. He knows nothing else.
So anyway, much trouble in the world.
Yeah. You know, when I was traveling to China, we flew over, was it the Black Sea?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I saw Ukraine. You know, you have the flight tracker.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, see, no.
Tense. Tense. Thankfully, you landed without incident.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, that's all we're going to leave it for today, for this evening. Thanks so much to all of our contributors or callers or YouTubers. Yes, the YouTubers. Yeah, you're out in your numbers tonight. Yeah? Mikael, Marjorie, Jamaicans, Corrine, Nathan Gale. Yeah, he's defending Putin, say he's no fool. Yeah? Take care of yourselves, everybody. Thanks to our producer, Dana Davey, and of course, our technical operator, Mr. Andrew Boogs Anderson, and members of the news and production team. I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Ricardo Brooks.
Reminding you, take care of your loved one and look out for your neighbor. Good night.
Good night.
Creative Building Finishes is celebrating